Part 20. Restarting the Myth. Author, Fengchao Huang. Chapter 191. Rupert held up the document and showed it to everyone. The evidence was conclusive and undeniable. Both Big Trash and Little Trash were Frank spies. The Landau family had betrayed the Queen and was not worthy of becoming a member of the Tulip family. The host Yvette did not read the document, but looked at Austin with a smile, waiting for his explanation. There's nothing to explain. This involves a very important matter. I can't explain it clearly, and you shouldn't know it, Mr. Wilson. Austin played with the ancient silver coins and said calmly, Mr. Wilson has done a good job in intelligence work. I think he put a lot of thought into it, but you shouldn't show this document, especially at such a critical meeting. Austin, do you still want to quibble when the situation comes to a head? Rupert shouted loudly. Austin shrugged and looked at a certain representative of the Tulip family. No one came, only a crystal ball. He said slowly, Mr. Fleming, please explain to Mr. Wilson, whether you can speak or not, you are the most qualified. The crystal ball was silent for a moment, and a friendly voice came out, Rupert, Mr. Landau is right, you shouldn't take out this information, which makes me very passive. Rupert's face darkened, he put down the documents and sat back down, he was so easily convinced. Fleming's voice came out of the crystal ball again, Mr. Wayne is from Windsor and is qualified to be the heir to the Landau family. His personal information has been deleted by the intelligence department. The information you can collect is not true. The specifics are I have reported the situation to the Queen. If you have any dissatisfaction, you can ask the Queen individually. After the words fell, there was no doubt in the audience. Wayne's eyes widened, wondering who this big boss was. Not only was he able to overwhelm everyone and silence all representatives of the Tulip family, he could also convince the Queen to turn the black ones into white ones, and turn the Frank spies into his own. Furthermore, looking at Austin's unhurried look, he was clearly prepared. I thought that the Ministry of Magic was full of rubbish, but I didn't expect that among the strong, there would be a strong one. The rubbish in the Tulip family were not weak at all. They didn't even act, and they sold the country blatantly. This is not betraying the country, it is clearly selling the Queen. Wayne was full of doubts and glanced at Austin, who was taking his time, intending to ask questions later. Representatives, Austin Landau recommended Wayne as the heir to the Landau family. Does anyone else have any objections? Yvette asked with a smile. After 3 times, no one expressed objections and the voting officially entered. As expected, the vote failed and Wayne was not recognized by representatives of the Tulip family. There were 13 votes in total, 4 in favor, 7 against, and 2 abstentions. Of the 14 Tulip families, 13 were present and 1 was absent. No representative of the Patino family came. The reason for his absence is simple. Before his surname was Windsor, his name was Orb Patino. According to the procedure, if the vote fails, the decision of whether Wayne can become the heir of the Landau family belongs to the Queen. If she says yes, it will be okay, and if she says no, it will not be possible. Yvette pretended to pull out the Queen's autographed letter and coughed twice to relay the message. A bunch of eloquent words are all dispensable, and only the last sentence is really useful. Her Majesty the Queen recognized Wayne's personal abilities and his indelible contribution to the country, approved him to become the heir of the Landau family, and awarded him an Imperial Knight Medal. After the meeting, everyone went back to their homes. Several representatives present, including Yvette as the host, congratulated Austin for getting what he wanted and left. Rupert came to find trouble, but he couldn't find it. He congratulated Austin cheerfully, as if nothing had happened before. Occur. This is what a mature politician is like. Just now is just now, and now is now. The person I was just now is not the person I am now. Just because there were conflicts before does not mean there are conflicts now. Barney didn't come here to cause trouble, he just wanted to make Alston unhappy by voting in favor to make the Alstons feel disgusted. As for the results, he was very satisfied and looked forward to the union of Austin's children on the wedding day and the birth of a brain-dead grandson a few months later. It would be best if you were still a freak. As long as it's Austin's fun, he likes it. The purpose of the tobacco merchant first was unknown. Most of the work was done by his secretary. He didn't want to be a secretary, so he came over to join in the fun. Wayne followed Austin to the minister's exclusive office building for the award. Alston, who is Mr. Fleming who just spoke, and how much money did you spend to buy his confession? Coming Fleming, most of his family members have joined the army, and they have a prominent position in the army. He did not spend any money. He volunteered to testify for you. Seeing Wayne's head full of questions and pretending to be real, Austin couldn't help curling his lips. You were originally an intelligence officer from Windsor. You were sent to Frank as an undercover agent, and then you were absorbed into the intelligence organization and sent back to London. Ah! There were more question marks on Wayne's forehead. Although it was possible, it was too decent. He was more inclined to believe that Austin and Fleming had reached an ulterior deal. I know everything about your origins, there's no need to pretend anymore. Austin looked unlucky. He had investigated Wayne 3 times. The first time was about outsourcing and nothing was found. The second time he tried to clear up the relationship and found out that Wayne was a Frank spy. The third time, because the investigation was too deep and thorough, the Windsor Intelligence Department had to step in and ask Alston to stop the investigation. There are many intelligence agencies in Windsor, serving different objects. The most famous ones are the National Security Agency, the Secret Intelligence Service and the Government Communications Headquarters, also known as the Troika and the Trident. The National Security Agency, also known as the Security Branch, is officially known as the 5th branch of the Military Intelligence Department. The Secret Intelligence Service, the 6th branch of the Military Intelligence Department, currently has a mediocre reputation, has many jurisdictions, and basically does not engage in human affairs. The Government Communications Headquarters does not have many officers. It is best at tapping phone calls and opening other people's letters without permission. The one who found Austin was the Secret Intelligence Service, also known as MI6. Its subordinate departments had launched a series of cooperation with the Ministry of Magic and jointly formulated the Iceman Project. As the name suggests, the spies who performed this mission were called deep sleepers. Their memories were wiped and they were sent abroad. When necessary, they would reactivate their memories and burn themselves for the Queen. Wayne was unlucky and didn't get burned. Frank repackaged him and sent him back to London. MI6 didn't know why, so they asked their contact to find Wayne, awaken his memory in advance, and ask if the Iceman plan had been exposed. Confirming that it was just a coincidence, the connector allowed Wayne to shine and send the wrong information to Frank. After. It was a dark and windy night, and a magical girl in a black robe walked into the Wayne Detective Agency with her muscleman and cat. I have to say that your memory has been awakened long ago, but you have been pretending not to know, and you also lied to me. Thinking of that female star, Austin's entire face darkened. No wonder the little pervert could resist the temptation of beauty. They were all in the same group and knew the basics. It would be a damn thing if they could succeed. If only he had used snacks instead of believing in so-called outsourcing, it would have been enough reason to get rid of the small trash can. Wayne said nothing and kept pumping the air conditioner. Austin continued to sneer, you seized the opportunity to learn magic and did not want to be controlled by the intelligence department. You sent your boss to prison 3 times in a row. They are very dissatisfied with you. Wayne, Sigma, oh. Online who went to jail 3 times in a row. Who, mustache. Oh my god, he is actually online instead of online. Wayne raised his hand to cover his heart and observed 0.25 seconds of silence for Mustache. He felt deeply about the ups and downs of life. This news is great. Although Windsor and Frank are both the same thing, and Windsor is even better in terms of not being a good person, but Frank has too many tricks, and it is great that he is not from China. In an instant, the memory fragments in Wayne's mind connected together. The small dark room, light bulbs, and fist fights are not Frank's intelligence training, but Windsor's. On the contrary, his espionage skills are all carefully cultivated by Frank's intelligence department. He was also assigned a stunningly beautiful female partner. Therefore, the original person's decadence was not due to seeing the truth of the world, but because he fell into confusion after the memory was unblocked and did not know which country to be loyal to, so he chose to die. Wayne figured out the cause and effect, and then. It's boring. What does the original person have to do with him? Apart from the same name, they have nothing in common. Just like that one, by the way, Dihua, with the same name, some are Heavenly King and some are Canopy. After getting rid of the shadow of his spy identity, Wayne's confidence has become much stronger. He is a hero who shed his blood for the country and deserves a knighthood. Without turning his head, Austin continued to sneer, "Don't be too proud. Your dual identity means that the intelligence agencies will not let you go. In addition, you have become the heir of the Tulip family. Both the intelligence agencies of Windsor and Frank will take action against you. You start taking action, there's going to be a war, think about how to get out. I'm already the heir to the Tulip family. Why do I still have to be a spy? I haven't even paid my salary yet. Am I going to risk my life?" Wayne waved his hand, believing that Austin would settle the matter. Austin said nothing. There was only one thing he had to say. There's going to be a war. Once the country's war machine is activated, everyone will be swept into the abyss by the whirlpool of war, and the Tulip family is no exception. They cannot escape if they want to. Minister's office building. Yvette, who left first, smiled and waited in front of the Medal of Honor hall, opened the door, and led the father and son onto the red carpet. Austin slowed down and motioned to Wayne to go ahead, talk less, nod more, and stop talking nonsense to the minister. Wayne followed Yvette with a serious face, looking forward and seeing the current King of Windsor, Sophia Arthur Windsor. The Queen's name is very long, usually with the front, middle, and back, the former being the given name, the middle referring to the king, and the latter being the surname. The Queen's figure is elegant and upright, and she is beautiful without losing her solemnity. Just look at her appearance. She is in her 30s but less than 40 years old. Her face is graceful, soft, and well maintained. Considering her true age, she should also be a magician. Quite beautiful. Wayne didn't look sideways and followed Yvette and Austin in bending down to salute. Sophia smiled slightly. "Austin, is he really not your illegitimate son?" "Alston." When she didn't get a direct reply from Austin, Sophia looked at Wayne again and looked up and down for a while. "Wayne, are you Austin's illegitimate son?" "Everything depends on the Queen's orders." Wayne put one hand on his chest and said politely, "If you say yes, even if you are the devil's illegitimate child, I am willing to admit it." "Alston, I told you not to talk nonsense to the Queen." Sophia nodded. "It is indeed very similar. I will just treat you as Austin's illegitimate child. According to the rules of noble inheritance, illegitimate children have no right to inherit the title. The standard is that the son is noble because of the mother." From this perspective, Austin tried his best to make Wayne his heir, and even married his daughter. Everything is reasonable. Illegitimate children are not allowed, but daughters and sons-in-law are allowed. Sophia received a report from the intelligence department. According to the report, Wayne is unlikely to be Austin's illegitimate son, but it does not rule out that he has a blood relationship with the Landau family. After all, it is rare to have such a resemblance, and the intelligence department dare not determine the truth. Only Austin himself knows the truth. The awarding ceremony is very simple, much simpler than Wayne imagined. There is no kneeling on one knee, and no queen holding a long sword on his shoulder. Yvette brought the medal and a certificate, which was awarded by Sophia herself, and then the medal was worn on Wayne's chest. It was simple, and it ended just like that. This is a Knight Commander medal, which comes with a title and ranks second among the Imperial medals. It consists of a blue enamel medal and a star-shaped badge. It is usually awarded to businessmen or senior officials who have made outstanding contributions to business. It is limited to 845 pieces worldwide. Citizens of the country who receive this medal will be granted the title of Knight by default, and can add the title of Knight after their names. In other words, Wayne barely squeezed into the ranks of the nobility, and will be Sir Wayne in the future. Although it is useless. Awarded to businessmen who have made outstanding contributions to the country, translated, you can buy it with money. The Knight Commander medal awarded to Wayne is mainly to commend him for helping the injustice on the road, saving Philomena, the high priest of the Moonlight Church, and saving the precarious image of the Ministry of Magic. I heard that you are very talented in magic, work hard, the country needs talents like you. Sophia showed an official smile and encouraged a few words according to the procedure. Wayne put one hand on his chest and said in a loud voice, I have only learned 3 things since I started learning magic: loyalty to the Queen, loyalty to the Queen, and loyalty to the Queen. Sophia smiled but said nothing. Her expression was too explicit and she still needed to be tempered, but her attitude was very good. She was a smart child. She couldn't help but look at Austin again, sighing that they were so similar, even the declaration of loyalty was almost the same. Also, go out less in the future and participate more in business. The country needs you. Don't always invest your energy in boring things, Sophia reminded implicitly. Wayne nodded respectfully and understood. Next time he met the high priest attacked by the Ministry of Magic, try to avoid him. The camera turned. Family dinner. Wayne wore a medal to attend the family dinner, and next to him was Sci-fi, who smiled continuously. As a clergyman, Sci-fi's respect for the Queen could not be higher than that for the goddess, but the student's achievement showed that she was a good teacher, which was a good thing and worth encouraging. Across from them, Austin and Veronica held their knives and forks expressionlessly, watching Wayne cut the steak into pieces. Wayne, W. Someone said that there are 1,000 Harry Potters in the minds of 1,000 readers. Wayne's shy face was particularly annoying in the eyes of the father and daughter, who wanted to throw a fork to stab him to death, but in Healy's eyes, this was a standard thin-skinned face. As expected of her, she made a mistake once, learned from experience, and found the right person when choosing students the second time. After dinner, Austin snorted and left, motioning Wayne to find him in the study. Veronica also snorted, and the sound was particularly loud, asking the social trash to come to her before finding the social trash. You're quite busy. Healy covered her mouth and giggled, patted Wayne's shoulder, and sorted out the medal on his chest. As she looked at it, her eyes turned slightly red. The strong woman didn't want to show her weakness in front of her students, so she changed the subject and frowned. I heard that you accepted the mission from the Ministry of Magic, and you have been very close to Philomena, the high priest of the Moonlight Church recently. Yes, they are very close, and they are in negative distance contact in the physical concept. Wayne nodded. Teacher, I don't want to get too close to her, but there is no way. The Ministry of Magic puts pressure on Austin, and my relationship with him has just eased. For the sake of this family, I can only accept the mission. I understand, you have paid too much for this family. Sifty sighed. She could stay out of it and only believe in the goddess, but Wayne couldn't, the heir of the family couldn't escape. Veronica was stupid and not as smart as her, and Wayne had to rush to the front for some dirty work. It's okay, teacher. I don't mind the hard work. What did that bastard say? You became the heir of the family, but he never mentioned the engagement to me. Did he tell you? No. Damn bastard, he admitted it but still wanted to delay. Teacher, you can't blame Austin. After all, he is a father. It's normal for him to be reluctant to part with his daughter. If he had directly made an engagement, it would be cold-blooded and ruthless. You are really sensible. I can't say much about this matter. Veronica must speak up, so you can only suffer first. It's okay. I'm not afraid of being wronged. The two of them gathered together and whispered for more than 5 minutes. After a moment, Sifty patted the student on the shoulder and returned to the topic of church faith. You may not know Philomena. This woman has a problem with her brain. Although she has a good talent for magic, she has a perverse and extreme personality. She is the type that is difficult to deal with. She tied you to her side under the pretext of the Ministry of Magic. She must have bad intentions. That's right. Wayne sighed. To be honest, she may have guessed that I am of the original bloodline. Is it true? How could she know? Sifty was shocked. Not just her, several legendary wizards in the Ministry of Magic may have guessed it. Wayne spread his hands helplessly. Gold will shine wherever it is, and it can't be hidden. Hearing this, Sci-fi smiled bitterly. She knew this truth, but she didn't expect to be exposed so quickly. Suddenly, she took a breath and gritted her teeth and said, I know, that bitch wanted to pollute you by believing in magic, and then snatch you to the Moonlight Church. It's so shameless. It was obviously me who came first. Teacher, is there a possibility that Chris came first? Rounding it off, it really was her who came first? Wayne muttered in his heart, his face serious. It can be seen that she does have this idea, and she said that she came first. He hesitated halfway through his words, and finally gritted his teeth and said, but don't worry, I have rejected her. I brought my talent to the natural church. There is no way and no reason to turn back. Good boy, the teacher loves you well. 11 Faye was overjoyed and said, she won't give up easily. Be careful, you are too kind. If you are not careful, she will catch you and use it to threaten you. Wayne nodded in agreement. It's not just catching, but eating is so charming. Restarting the myth. Author, Fengchao Huang. Chapter 192. Seeing Wayne's embarrassed expression, Sci-fi couldn't help but make the worst plan and said bluntly, did that woman use force on you? Tell me how she bullied you, and I will go to her to settle the score. Teacher, you are joking. After all, she is a high priest of the church and represents the highest authority of the Windsor district. She will not use force on me, Wayne said. That would be troublesome. Sci-fi's face gradually turned cold. I know your character. You are grateful for the kindness you have received. I am not afraid of her using force, but I am afraid of her using softness. Teacher, you are so smart, why were you tricked into the grave by the scum of society? Wayne complained in his heart. When it comes to Sci-fi's brain, it is definitely not stupid. She has the means and the brains. She is a typical strong woman, but she fell into a big trap with Austin. The natural church has a high priest like you, and the other churches in Windsor. Oh, the Moonlight Church also produces a lot of love-brained high priests. No one is better than the other. They are evenly matched. That's fine. In short, be on guard. She knows that you are the blood of the original body, and she will definitely not give up. Sci-fi had a headache. There were bastards everywhere who wanted to steal her students. She didn't feel safe at all. Suddenly, she thought of something and said, be careful of her beauty. You are still young. Most people only look at the appearance of people. Don't mistake her for a good person just because she is beautiful. I'm not afraid to tell you that she is 80 years old this year, enough to be your grandmother. 80 is too exaggerated, half is more like it. Wayne, say something. Teacher, you know me, I have always been very resistant to beauty, and Wayne was speechless. She is the high priest. Even if she has this idea, she can't do it herself. Most of the time she arranges people to carry out the plan. That's right. Sci-fi nodded, and asked Wayne to find Veronica after talking with Austin, and taught the strategy tutorial by the way. Let Wayne rush boldly. Don't be afraid of being beaten by Veronica. She knows her daughter too well. The harder she beats, the more she likes it, and if she really hates it, she won't even bother to look at it when she puts her face close to it. Sci-fi left quickly. The love between the student and the daughter was slow, not young at all. It's not easy for her to urge this aspect, so she can only protect it first, in case the Moonlight Church is not a good person, and feels it necessary to meet Philomena. By the way, the two churches are allies. Philomena arrived in London after that. She hadn't come to congratulate him yet, so she took this opportunity to make things clear. She didn't want to pursue the past. Now Wayne was her student, and he had the seal of the Church of Nature. She hoped that some flies would not make trouble for themselves. Study. Megan stood at the door, facing the aggressive eldest lady. She sighed and said the same thing. This is about the future of the family, eldest lady, please wait a moment. I don't know if it was intentional or unintentional, but after saying this, Veronica's fists clenched. There is a head for the injustice, and there is a master for the debt. This fist can only be hit on Wayne. In the study. Wayne puffed out his chest looking up to show his medals. Austin rolled his eyes and lost the mood to play with the ancient silver coins. He stood up slowly, pushed open the bookcase compartment, and showed his medals and trophies. The whole wall was full, especially the medal certificate for re-election as the mayor of the financial city, which was placed in the middle. Young man, open your eyes and see clearly, this is called status. Austin also has Wayne's Knight Commander medal, which is worthless. He was too lazy to show it, so he not only put it in the corner, but also put it in a box. Wayne silently took off the medal on his chest, not understanding what was wrong with this world. Obsessed with fame and fortune, he was trapped in his own trap and was burdened by fame and fortune, and eventually became a victim of fame and fortune. Hurry up and wake up. The so-called medal is just a tight spell of the Queen. If you really wear it, you will be fooled. Wayne didn't say these words, but looked at Austin steadily, hoping that he would turn back and understand it himself. After showing off his achievements in the first half of his life, Austin sat on the sofa and played with ancient silver coins. Today, not all of the Tulip family are present. The absent ones are the Patino family. Except for the magician, most of the rest of their family are painters and writers. Because of Aube, they are currently undergoing a comprehensive review. What did the Queen say? You received a task and are going to set up an investigation team. Wayne's eyes lit up and he smelled a business opportunity. Although his status as the heir of the Landau family has made him rich, money is a bastard, and he looks really good, so good things naturally want more, the better. The investigation team of the Patino family is led by Princess Elizabeth, and it is not our turn for the Tulip family. Austin glanced at Wayne, and seeing his disappointment, he couldn't help but curl his lips. Yes, he did it on purpose. Austin, about this Princess Elizabeth. Wayne hesitated for a moment. Although it was a coincidence, the names were too similar. Is there a possibility that this princess will become the next queen? Don't do stupid things, your purpose is too strong, Austin warned. Wayne rolled his eyes. He really misunderstood him, at least this time. The princess has a fiancé, and they have a good relationship. They can't tolerate a third party, Austin warned again, asking the little trash can to save his worries and not to cause him big trouble. I know, let's continue talking about the investigation team. Which piece of cake did you get? 2 pieces. Austin looked at the desk, asked Wayne to bring the map over, and said meaningfully, the so-called country is actually like the human body. If you don't check it, there will be nothing wrong. If you check it, there will be something wrong. Maybe there is nothing wrong, but sooner or later it will be wrong. What a big arrogance. Wayne took the map and put it in front of Austin. He looked at the two red circles marked on the map and listened patiently to Austin's philosophy of life. It must be admitted that the old trashcan has been punched for a few more years than him, and is indeed a little better than him in some aspects. Putting aside other identities, Orb is the deputy minister of magic. For this reason alone, many people are willing to approach him. Austin pointed to the map and said, "The Jean and Snow families are not the Tulip family, but they are hereditary nobles. They once had their own territories. After becoming new nobles, they still maintain the dignity of nobles with the help of their ancestors' resources. There are many similar nobles. The Queen does not want to see them decent, so she asks the Tulip family to help them be decent." Austin said a lot to briefly summarize. The Queen has to settle accounts, the Ministry of Magic has to settle accounts, and the Tulip family also has accounts to settle. Deputy Minister Orb and the Patino family alone are not enough. In this case, some nobles who are close to Orb or have had contact with him in the past are unlucky. It can't be said that they are unlucky. When they reach a certain height, who doesn't have some stains on them? The Queen is kind and noble. She wears white gloves. She will not target those former nobles. The subordinates are different. There are many interpretations of the orders. It is inevitable that misunderstandings will arise if the subordinates misunderstand. Because of the ambiguity, these families close to Orb were invited to participate in a game with a simple and crude name, the whole family candy. Austin said it very tactfully, and he was misinterpreting the Queen's meaning throughout the whole process, but Wayne still understood it at the first time and couldn't help saying, "Is our Windsor really a constitutional monarchy? It sounds so feudal." They have been exposed to magic, and the magic world has never reformed. Wayne nodded, indicating that he had learned it. Indeed, there is no reform in the magic world. It has always been religious beliefs and pyramids. No matter how much it is embellished, it cannot cover up the fact that there is a clear hierarchy. Since these families have chosen to enter the magic world, they must abide by the rules of the magic world. You are a smart person, I won't say much more. I can only say that how to understand the Queen's order depends on your personal opinion and has nothing to do with the Queen's original intention, Austin reminded. Because he is the head of the family, Wayne's understanding is his understanding, which has nothing to do with the Queen's original intention. Wayne understood the deep meaning of the words and was a little excited for a while. Since someone wiped his ass, he would not hesitate to misinterpret the Queen's order. Don't go too far. These families also have their own friends, blood relatives, and everyone has a few relatives, Austin taught. You think those are sins, but they don't think so, because they themselves are not clean. Just do it. Don't offend too many people. Wayne nodded and accepted the lesson. He understood and would restrain himself a little. Similarly, some crimes are so big that no one dares to look at them. In this case, you can take advantage of the situation and do whatever you want. Austin's mouth curled up. Yes, he did it on purpose. Wayne rolled his eyes. So, dear father-in-law, what crimes are lenient and what crimes are traced to the root? There must be a limit, right? Austin. It doesn't matter. Austin said with a dark face, what are the limits of means? The key is the result of using the means, and how much you are willing to pay for the result. Wayne didn't quite understand and wanted to ask something else. Austin waved his hand, not wanting to analyze it in depth. He had promised to bear the cost. How to use the means and what results to get were things that Wayne should worry about. You choose one of these two places. Just one. Austin had a blank expression. Giving one was training, and giving two was pure illness. He couldn't clean up so many butts. Wayne was thick-skinned and smiled innocently. He looked at the two red dots on the map. After a moment, he raised his hand and pointed at the Snow family. It's him, close to the sea. The investigation team will be accompanied by the clerk of the Ministry of Magic. I will say hello to you. Go back and prepare. We will set off in the next 2 days. Be quick, otherwise you won't catch anything. Austin ordered Wayne to get out of here. It's annoying just to look at him. He couldn't figure out why his wife and daughter would like this bastard. What's so good about him? And those bastards outside, the evidence is on their faces, but they insist on saying illegitimate children. Megan, bring Monica over here. Austin became more and more upset, and ordered through the soundproof barrier, deciding to vent his anger on the black cat. Wayne shrugged, got up and left the study, and saw Megan's back when he pushed the door. He curled his lips speechlessly. What's the point of the soundproof barrier? He turned his head and saw Veronica, and immediately understood the meaning. Veronica's eyes were shining, fierce, and she hooked her fingers stiffly, asking Wayne to go with her to a quiet corner to talk alone. Wayne put on the medal and was about to nod, but looked behind Veronica in surprise. Teacher, why are you so angry? Are you looking for Austin? Veronica loosened her clenched fists, turned around with a well-behaved face, and happily waited for the human cannon to be performed at close range. Although she didn't know what happened, she was in a bad mood today and wanted to see domestic violence. Turning around, Veronica was stunned. The corridor was empty, not a soul in sight. Turning around again, Wayne was nowhere to be seen. Asshole, stop. Veronica was furious, angry, furious, and she sped up and rushed straight to the end of the corridor, smelling the smell of social garbage in the air, and chased after her. Young Master's villa. Master bedroom bathroom. Wayne hummed a tune, put the bath water in, and slowly took off his clothes. Just as he was about to lie down in the bathtub, he thought for 0.25 seconds and decisively picked up the bath towel and wrapped it around his waist. 5 seconds later, Veronica jumped through the window and jumped into the master bedroom. With fierce eyes, she followed the smell into the bathroom. She took a cautious look, saw the bath towel, and immediately lost her fear. She stepped into the bathtub and jumped on it. Raise your fist and hit. Not hit. Wayne caught the fist with one hand and covered his face with the other. He said in a negotiating tone, "Wait a minute, I'll wash it off before you hit me. I haven't put on my clothes yet, so this isn't good." "What does it matter? It's not like I haven't seen it before." "You actually saw it?" Wayne opened his eyes wide and pressed the towel around his waist. "When and where? Why don't I know?" "In the small town of Cafano, you were unconscious at the time, so naturally you didn't know." Veronica wore a victorious smile, but she didn't say that. Although there was something wrong with the comparison, this was one of the few times when she had the upper hand, and she finally saw Wayne depressed. "Forget it if you don't tell me. Anyway, it's not a loss for me. I've seen your naked body." Bang. Wayne was punched in the nose, covered his face and said, "Get out quickly, I have no clothes on, there is no one in this villa, and if something happens, it won't help you to scream. It's you who should ask for help." Veronica gritted her teeth, but still stood up from the bathtub, folded her hands on her shoulders, and just waited for the social waste to finish taking a bath. Wayne didn't panic at all and took off the towel and threw it out of the bathtub. Veronica's face turned red, she snorted and lowered her head. "You're so ugly, where are the scissors?" I thought she was so powerful, but it turned out that she was just a tough talker. "If you're embarrassed, just go out and don't delay my shower," Wayne snorted disdainfully. He was very embarrassed when Veronica was naked. "Make a decision." Veronica was furious and her eyes widened in condescension. "It's very energetic, and it's even better if you don't blush." Wayne was convinced by her desire to win, so he lay down in the bathtub and soaked slowly. "Asshole, are you going to stay until tomorrow morning?" Veronica couldn't help it anymore, interrupted Wayne's tune, pulled him out of the bathtub, grabbed the robe, and dragged him to the bedroom. "Don't be anxious, I know you are anxious, but it's really inappropriate," Wayne shouted at the top of his lungs, and Veronica was so angry that she punched him repeatedly and pressed him on the bed before covering her mouth. "Shut up, if you dare to talk nonsense again I will." Veronica turned her palms into a knife and made a downward cutting motion. "Okay, why are you so anxious to find me?" Wayne moved back and leaned against the bedside. When he realized that Veronica hadn't followed, he hugged her legs and lifted her up. X2. Bang. Veronica closed her eyes and clenched her fists, took a few deep breaths, then calmed down her chaotic mood, and said calmly, "You went to vote for the successor today, did you pass?" "Originally I failed, but the Queen gave me special approval. From now on, I will be the heir to the Landau family, and you will be second in line," Wayne said truthfully. "Why?" Veronica laughed angrily, "You are not from the Landau family. Even if you have the right to inherit, it is through that method. There is no way you can be ahead of me. Theoretically it's not possible, but everyone, including the Queen, thinks that I am Alston's illegitimate son. Because illegitimate children have no inheritance rights, they turned me into a legitimate son through marriage. The Queen saw that it was not easy for him, so she put me in the line." At the front Wayne started talking nonsense, focusing on silky smoothness. Veronica rolled her eyes and said, as expected of a queen, "She is a good judge of people." After speaking, she fell silent. The eye circles are red and small pearls are about to fall out. "Veronica, this expression doesn't suit you. The teacher and Austen will definitely teach me a lesson if they know I made you cry. They like you so much, how could they teach you a lesson?" Veronica was furious and punched Wayne in the face. With a bang, the bed collapsed. Wayne covered his face and coughed, then said weakly, "Don't be sad, it's just the air. Austen didn't even mention the engagement, and the teacher pretended not to know. Their meaning is very simple. It only works if you nod. If I don't nod my head for the rest of my life, will you be wasting your life?" Veronica didn't believe it, crossed her shoulders and sneered. She had read the diary, and the garbage in society must not be that honest. It's not that easy to lie to her. "It's okay, I'm considered an illegitimate child. It doesn't matter to me whether I have an engagement or not. The reason I was willing to agree to Austen was not for an engagement." Wayne looked at Veronica calmly. "Austen told me there were some things you couldn't do and asked me if I was interested. I said yes." Veronica was stunned, and her emotionless words directly penetrated her. She swallowed softly, her heartbeat speeding up again and again, and then, "Wayne, W." Veronica found an excuse, punched Wayne in the face, rushed out of the door in a panic, and seemed to hit the wall again with a few bangs. Wayne held his chin up and watched the other party leave, secretly muttering something interesting. Picked up the bathrobe beside him, walked into the bathroom and continued to lie down. On his chest, the vertical line cracked, and the tentacles rolled up an ancient silver coin and interacted intimately with the element fellow. I thought Schrödinger would come to snatch the ancient silver coin, but the other party did not make any movement, not even a phone call, and had no intention of taking advantage of the opportunity to sell favors. This guy. Is he too busy settling accounts, or was he really beaten to death? Wayne didn't know why. After taking a shower and changing into clean clothes, before returning to Wayne's house, he took the diary and climbed through the window into the eldest lady's bedroom. Take the initiative to get beaten. This is a necessary strategy settlement, and it cannot be saved. It would be meaningless to save the previous part. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Restarting the Myth. Author, Fengchao Huang. Chapter 193. November 24th. Cathedral train station, waiting hall. A team of 20 to 30 people in the investigation team were carrying suitcases and preparing to board the train. The leader was Wayne, the leader's secretary Mona, and the rest of the members were from the investigation department under the Ministry of Magic. It was said to be a subordinate department of the Ministry of Magic, but in fact it was outsourced. They worked for the Ministry of Magic with Austin's salary and had no establishment, which was the so-called temporary workers. As the heir of the Landau family, Wayne was equivalent to their boss. This group of people had different functions, including civil servants such as accountants, bodyguards with guns, and magicians trained by Austin. It sounded like the private armed forces of the landlords. In fact, it was not. The times had changed. It was a constitutional monarchy. There were no big landlords or big families. It was impossible for private soldiers to have private soldiers. Austin called it a security company. Other tulip families had more or less similar temporary workers. Because the families were engaged in different fields, the composition of temporary workers was different. The main feature was flexibility. For example, the Collins family, which focuses on magic, has Yvette as a legendary wizard, teaching several students, and the students have their own students. For example, the Fleming family, which has devoted itself to the military, promotes meritorious people, and the meritorious people are willing to lead by example. Another example is the Julian family, which sells tobacco and lottery tickets. The industrial chain is no smaller than that of the Landau family, and it truly provides food and clothing for millions of boatmen. Each tulip family has bred a small ecosystem and an extremely complex interest group. Because the times have changed, this system is not bureaucratic, but represents emerging democracy, overthrowing the rule of the aristocracy, and truly keeping pace with the times and adapting to the times. Back to the point, Wayne, with his secretary in his left hand and his dog in his right hand, looks around and looks for the mustache that is very likely to appear. If the information is correct, the mustache has escaped from prison again. Should I call the police this time? LE.JPG. The dog is a Doberman, Wayne's #1 loyal dog, Aubin. As a knight, he was ordered by the old Buddha to confiscate his property and behead him. In order to meet the occasion, he brought a dog and an owl, completing the double configuration of the court's hawks and dogs. The owl is a snowy owl, a former pet of the sun goddess, now named Axu, a cat that is active during the day. It is all white, with nothing to cover up, and is locked in a cage for Mona to carry. The dog is really dead. Whether it is day or night, taking it out for a walk is definitely a supernatural event. Since seeing the dragon blood transformation of the Ministry of Magic and the twin androids of the Moonlight Church, Wayne is no longer taboo to take Aubin for a walk. In order to prevent being mistaken for the undead dog of the Death Knight, Wayne performed a skin replacement operation on Aubin. He cut off a piece of his own meat to fill Aubin's undead skeleton, and then the moonlight was the skin, the nature was the hair, and the sun was the beauty contact lens. After the three-piece beauty process, Wayne said that this dog was an elf dog and people believed it. Anyway, Mona believed it. As the saying goes, if you keep thinking about something, it will definitely come true. In Wayne's expectant eyes, the little mustache appeared. He led his two younger brothers and walked towards Wayne with a step that was not related to his relatives. His face was ferocious and he looked like he was going to eat people. Sensing the malice of the little mustache, Mona frowned and stood in front of him. Aubin also growled in his throat and grinned with sharp fangs. "It's okay, we are one family." Wayne patted his butt and dog head and said with a smile, "I borrowed a sum of money from him some time ago and didn't pay it back. He was afraid that I would leave, so he came to collect the debt." As the heir of the Landau family, which was extremely wealthy, Wayne could not lack money for anything. No one would believe such a lie. Mona frowned. "Boss, it is his blessing to be borrowed money from you." This person is a little ungrateful. Aubin panted, and it felt the same way. Borrowing money is not the purpose, but the means. I have a use for this person. You wait here, I'll go over and talk to him. Wayne put the dog leash in Mona's hand and strode towards the mustache. When he got close, he opened his hands and enthusiastically called out the other person's name, Mustache, long time no see. Damn bastard, my name is not Mustache. Mustache was arrested 3 times in a row and rescued from the police station by his superiors 3 times in a row. He was not angry to death by Wayne, which shows that he is in good health and has a lung capacity far beyond that of ordinary people. He pressed Wayne's shoulder and angrily took him to the corner of the waiting hall. The 2 younger brothers were dressed in black, wearing hats and sunglasses and standing aside, warning other passengers not to get close. The originally low-key meeting immediately became conspicuous after the 3 of them did something. Wayne rolled his eyes. Although he didn't need to act in his own territory, as an intelligence officer, could you respect his professional ethics? Wayne, you've found yourself a good backer. The mustache's eyes were blazing, and it was obvious that he had wanted to beat Wayne for a long time. What Wayne? There is no Wayne, watch your tone when you speak. Wayne opened his coat, showed off the Knight Commander medal pinned on his suit, slapped the mustache on the shoulder, and said in a low voice, "The one standing in front of you is Sir Wayne. I have a good chat with the Queen, and I am also friends with your top leader Cumming Fleming. If I were you, I would never speak so loudly." The mustache trembled all over, snorted and couldn't speak, his whole face flushed. "It's good that you understand, I don't want to tear my face with you, it's all for the country, it's not easy." Wayne patted the mustache on the shoulder and encouraged him, "Work hard, and you can get the Queen's honor like me in the future." After that, he was about to leave. "Wait a minute," the mustache stopped Wayne. "What's wrong again? Do you want to go to jail?" "Damn it, can you please stop talking about this? Because of you, I have become a joke in the 6th Department." The mustache was indignant and explained why he wanted to meet Wayne several times. After his narration, Wayne finally understood the reason. The first encounter on the train was purely accidental. The mustache was not to rob the train, but to play the role of a robber to steal the suitcase of the target person. In order to cover up his identity, he pretended to be real and outsourced to find a few real robbers. Then he was sent in by Wayne. It was also because of that time that he found that Wayne left London without permission and did not obey orders to carry out the mission, which led to the next 2 encounters. Time went back to 1937, Wayne had not yet crossed over, and Wayne had not been targeted by the Church of Death. On the orders of his superiors, the mustache found Wayne, awakened his dormant memory, and asked him to act as a double agent to deliver half-true and half-false intelligence to Frank. At that time, Wayne thought he was a Frank, and had a fantasy about his colleague Lily. Because of the century-old friendship between the 2 countries, he hated the Windsor who was not a human being, and vowed to return to his hometown to get married after this battle. After the memory awakened, his position changed. He was a Windsor, and because of the century-old friendship between the 2 countries, he hated Frank. When he was in a dilemma, he chose to play badly, sealed the radio station, and except for occasional contact with Lily, he spent the whole day in the bar drunk and dreaming. The mustache had a sharp eye and saw what Wayne was thinking at a glance. After obtaining the approval of his superiors, he prepared to start a series of ideological education work on Wayne. Then he went to prison for 3 times, becoming a joke of Me6. It was not that the mustache did not want to retaliate, but that his superiors did not allow it. After investigation, Wayne, the stinky salted fish, turned over and hooked up with the Landau family. "Superior, don't do it yet, let's see." As time went by, it became clear that Wayne was not something that the mustache could easily move. His status had risen, so now they had to discuss it. The mustache took a deep breath, forced a smile and said, Sir Wayne, your background determines that you cannot be separated from Me-6. The Iceman project took a long time. As the most successful agent, Frank will definitely contact you. Me-6 hopes that you can actively cooperate and convey some wrong information when necessary. The mustache was concise and to the point. It was true that Wayne was from Windsor, but Frank didn't know and really thought that Wayne became the heir of the Landau family by picking up girls. In this case, Wayne's value soared from an ordinary intelligence officer to a senior agent. Regardless of whether it was a gamble or not, he succeeded anyway. The class leap made him a favorite of Frank's intelligence organization. The mustache dared to assert that in the future, someone from Frank would contact Wayne and send him the latest radio station. Wayne frowned and asked tentatively, "Is there a possibility that we are not enemies with Frank, and it is meaningless to send them false information?" "You are right, but similarly, we can't be friends with Frank," the mustache said seriously. Wayne shook his head. "I have embarked on another path and completely cut off my past. If I continue to work for Me-6, then I have walked this path in vain, don't you think so?" "Sir Wayne, you have failed this country." "How is it possible?" Wayne casually lifted his coat. "With such a big medal, how could I have failed this country?" "You are so bold that you dare to say that the Queen is blind and self-righteous. I will report to His Majesty. I'll punish you for disrespect and take off your fish roe bag." "I didn't say that," the mustache man hurriedly said, stamping his feet angrily. "Anyway, I've said everything I should say. You are an agent for one day and you will be an agent for life. Only Me-6 laid off employees, and no employees resigned privately. Who are you trying to scare? You don't know how much the Queen likes me. Let her cut off your Me-6 project funds and see how arrogant you are." Wayne pouted, indicating that he was scared. He had already made a class transition. How could he bear this grievance? He waved his hand to call for the accompanying team of bodyguards. Several big men rushed up and pressed the mustache man and the other three there. "Wayne, what are you doing?" "What else can I do?" "Send you, the escaped prisoner, back." Because of the riots here, the station police quickly approached the melon eaters and laughed foolishly in the crowd. As they laughed, they remembered that they were policemen and asked why the conflict occurred. Wayne accidentally revealed his medals of honor, pointed at the three men with mustaches and said, "Prison escapees, there is a wanted order, the credit goes to you." Windsor is not short of nobles, medals are everywhere. The police officers were not scared by Wayne's identity, and would not listen to his one-sided words. But the team members had good temperaments, full of senior civil servants. The police officers did not dare to neglect, and escorted the three men with mustaches to the station police station. For a while, the praise of the son of the beach resounded throughout the waiting hall. "If you have the ability, continue next time. I can't punish you," Wayne whispered, and left the crowd surrounded by bodyguards. Suddenly, he saw a golden head among the crowd, grinning happily. "Not very smart." "Willie." "Wayne. Why is this little fool at the station, carrying a suitcase? I haven't heard that she is going on a long trip." Sensing Wayne's gaze, Willie wanted to hide, but Wayne took 2 steps forward and grabbed her collar and pulled her out from behind the suitcase. "Wayne, what a coincidence, you are here to see your friend off too." "Well, who are you seeing off?" "For you." "Who told you that I?" "Veronica." "Then why do you bring a suitcase?" "What if you invite me to travel with you?" "The train doesn't wait for anyone, so I brought it with me." Did you buy a ticket?" "Not at all." Willie put one hand on her waist and the other on the suitcase, feeling very righteous. Seeing Mona holding the dog leash, she called her sister and shook off Wayne and came up. "Who said this guy is stupid? He is obviously a smart guy. He almost bypassed me." Wayne found the entourage and ordered them to temporarily add a train ticket and a boat ticket. "No, 2." Wayne looked around and sent out his perception to find Veronica. According to the experience of Dragonheart Island, Willie came, and Veronica must be nearby. The Dragon Blood girl is so arrogant. It is impossible to let her chase a man, but it is no problem to let her chase her bestie. Then he thought about Veronica's initiative to leak information to Willie, and Willie took the initiative to open the way ahead. This wave is clearly a high-end game. The abacus beads have broken on my face. If I am not thick-skinned, I can be broken to death. Wayne sent out his perception to find Veronica, but failed 3 times and gave up decisively. He guessed that the person had already come, and he couldn't lose face, let alone play Willie's straightforward ball, so he hid aside. It's hide and seek. I know the rules. I'll play you when I find you, Wayne was thinking, and the last 2 members of this trip arrived. 2 ladies, one big and one small. They came from the office building of the Minister of Magic. The older one was a clerk, and the younger one was a clerk's assistant. They were not temporary workers, but had formal staff. According to Austin, the 2 clerks came from another knightly order of the Queen. The Windsor royal family has 3 knightly orders on the surface: the Royal Guards of the Army, referred to as the Royal Guards, the Royal Horse Guards, referred to as the Glorious Knights, and the Garter Knights, which are also known as the Garter Knights with the garter as their symbol. Unlike the black-gloved Tulip family, the Garter Knights are the Queen's protectors. The Supreme Knight system of Windsor is also the white glove on the Queen's hand. The successive leaders of the Knights, that is, the King, wear the only order of the Garter. The members range from princes to princes and princesses, from dukes to baron knights, a total of 26 people, each with a garter. Just looking at the garter is indeed very upper class, but with the Knight's motto "Shame on those with evil thoughts," the prestige immediately goes up. The royal family, with the Garter Knights as the center, has cultivated aristocratic elites loyal to the royal family. Although the 2 clerks are not real members of the Knights, they serve within the system of the Knights and come with the Queen's will. Without these 2 confidants, Wayne could not get the Queen's order, and could not confiscate his house, let alone execute his head. "Sir Wayne, I'm sorry to have kept you waiting." The 2 heads, one big and one small, bowed their heads. Although it was their fault to be late, their posture after being late was very correct and their words were very polite. Wayne nodded and looked at the 2 clerks. One was still charming, and the other was young and beautiful. They looked a bit similar, and they should be related by blood. After a few simple words, Wayne learned their names. Sandy Saunders. Denise Saunders. Aunt and niece, they are indeed relatives. The Ministry of Magic is rich and powerful, and it has booked 6 carriages of a luxury train, carrying everyone comfortably from London to Liverpool, a city northwest of Windsor. First take the train to the port city, then take a cruise ship across the Strait of Ireland to the Republic of Ireland, and then go to Northern Ireland by land. The route was customized by Wayne. According to him, although the Ministry of Magic concealed the death of Orb, the Snow family did not receive the news and thought that the leader was alive. But those who know that everyone has a few friends in the world. The Ministry of Magic is a sieve. It has sold intelligence to make a fortune. In order to prevent the Snow family from intercepting it halfway, it avoided the straight line and chose to go around the Republic of Ireland. Hearing Wayne's well-reasoned analysis, Austin thought that he was idle and had nothing to do, which was a waste of time. Even if he encountered an ambush, with the secrets in Wayne, the Snow family would have to send as many as they came. Because this trip depended on Wayne's performance, it was a test of no small matter. Austin did not intervene and simply let him go. He arranged the route and prepared all the means of transportation to ensure that the whole journey was smooth and reached the destination. Dining car. With Mona in his left hand and Willie in his right hand, Wayne slowly solved his lunch on the train. During the period, he fed Willie several times and was particularly fond of her. Mona. She also wants to be fed, anything is fine. Sitting opposite the table are Sandy's aunt and niece. The charming aunt is single, and the beautiful niece has no boyfriend. Wayne is very good at coaxing women, with witty remarks and humor. In one meal, he coaxed the aunt to be trembling, and the niece laughed and laughed. They all liked him very much. After lunch, Gentleman Wayne sent the two back to the carriage, and then led the big and small away. Denise looked out and watched Wayne leave. Curiously, the female secretary beside Sir Wayne is so beautiful. Who is the girl named Willie? She doesn't seem to be on the list. Just the prey of Playboy. Willie. Both of them. Seeing Denise's shocked face, Sandy said to her niece earnestly, "Do you think Sir Wayne speaks very nicely, as if he is pursuing us?" Ah, this. Denise was even more shocked, although, now thinking about it, it seems that this is really possible. I didn't expect him to be such a person. I thought he was a good man. Don't be silly. If he was serious, why would he invite us to the dining car with 2 plates of Chinese food? And, it's too profound. I'm a little confused. Sir Wayne's meaning is very simple. He is not a good man. He is very good at coaxing women. Let us keep a distance from him, Sandy explained. A bad man takes the initiative to reveal his identity and warns us to stay away from him. Isn't this a good man? Denise questioned. Bang. Sandy raised his hand and knocked on his niece's head, saying weakly, "Stupid, he has written bad things on his face. Why do you only hear sweet words? He speaks very nicely." Denise covered her head and said weakly, "That's the family education. Do you know who Sir Wayne's father is? The Landau family can only be Mr. Austin Landau." "That's right, the son follows the father. Let me tell you about the love affairs of this old playboy, and you will know how dangerous the young playboy is." Yeah. Restarting the Myth. Author, Fengchao Huang. Chapter 194. Lendham is not far from Liverpool, and the luxury train is not a sightseeing tour bus. It departs in the morning and arrives in the afternoon. Diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit. Accompanied by the sound of the train's movement, the scenery outside the window moves slowly. In the luxury carriage, Mona looked at Willie across from her, depressed. Originally, she was supposed to live in a compartment with Wayne, but now, she and Willie are in one room and Wayne and the hawk are in another room. Willie was lying on the bed, bored. She looked at the scenery outside the window, and then looked at the business books on Mona's bed. She pushed the door open with a serious face and decided to go to Wayne to play poker. In the compartment, there were cats and dogs, but no one. "Where did you go?" Wayne left the 6 carriages booked by the Ministry of Magic and looked for Veronica. He expected that Dragon Blood Pride was in the car and was thin-skinned. He would not show up before the right time. Wayne walked around the corridor of the carriage, sniffed his nose, and could not smell the familiar fragrance. He secretly said that he was really good at hiding, and turned back to his own compartment. You can hide on the train, but you can't hide on the ship. He will catch you sooner or later. Hee. Time flies and it's afternoon. Everyone has dinner in the restaurant next to the station, goes to the port with the convoy, and boards the cruise ship to the Republic of Ireland. Spend a night on the cruise ship, go ashore tomorrow morning, and go straight to Northern Ireland where the Snow family is. It's very interesting. Almost 20 years ago, Ireland, which pursued freedom, became independent, and the Free Federation of Ireland was established. A year ago, the Free Federation was changed to a republic and split from the Windsor Federation. Although it is still named as the Windsor Federation, it is independent but not completely independent, but the momentum has risen, and Windsor cannot stop it. It's hard to say the reason. It can only be said that the Republic of Ireland believes in the Holy See of the Father. The Windsor royal family suppressed the Holy See of the Father in the country, and almost created a small Holy See secretly. The Holy See of the Father couldn't swallow this breath, and copied the backyard of Windsor. Joy.jpg. Joy is joy. Looking beyond the surface to the essence, Wayne saw the decline of Windsor and the strong quadriceps of the Heavenly Father Church. The arm cannot twist the thigh. The Church's counterattack against Windsor is getting stronger and stronger. The reason why it is a counterattack is that Windsor once had an absolute advantage and killed the Heavenly Father Church. Not only Windsor, but other countries on the God's chosen continent also launched a wave of fierce attacks against the Church. And won. The Heavenly Father lost face. Wayne didn't quite understand. In his opinion, the Heavenly Father Church once unified the God's chosen continent and killed the five goddesses church. Many gods who were not recorded also fell here. The question is, the Heavenly Father Church had all the advantages and swept away all disobedience. Why did it lose power halfway and almost lost the Papal States? If you can't win, you can call angels. It's not like there is no one above. The Pope can tolerate the countries not giving face to the Father, but the angels can't stand this temper. I'll kill you all. This is the Church in Wayne's impression, the war of faith in his impression. The result is, trains and cars are everywhere, planes and cannons are flying in the sky, and even those old charlatans who study theology are thinking about the truth of science and the world. Wayne walked while thinking. He had studied this topic with the literary girl Odelia before. Because of the lack of documents, several churches tacitly erase the real history and define the credit of the Reformation as adapting to the times. Wayne didn't believe it. The magic world has never been reformed. The chosen continent ruled by the Father Church cannot have a revolution. There must be an unknown secret. In that era, the Father Church ushered in an epic weakening. Wayne, where have you been? Willie found her target in the corridor of the cruise ship, jumped and hugged his arm, and pulled him. It's dark, go to your room to play cards. I didn't know you were still a card player. Wayne complained in his heart, this is not playing cards, it's clearly a benefit for him. After thinking for a while, he pulled out his arm and put his arm around Willie's shoulder. Playing cards is so boring, let's go to the deck to watch the moon. Willie blinked, thought about it, and still insisted on playing cards. Okay, if you want to play cards, but playing cards alone is boring. If you lose, have a drink, okay. No problem. Willie agreed readily. Wayne took her back to his cruise ship cabin, knocked on the door of the next room, asked Mona to bring 2 bottles of red wine, and the 3 of them played a card game. Half an hour later, Willie fell on the bed dizzy, her eyes blurred and her face flushed, saying that she really couldn't eat anymore. Wayne closed his eyes, and the smell of alcohol on his body disappeared in an instant. He said to Mona beside him, I'm going to take a walk. If she wakes up, continue to give her wine. Mona nodded and looked at Willie with sympathy. It's pitiful that she hasn't been eaten even after being sent to this point. Putting herself in his shoes, he felt that his future was bleak. When it comes to sending, Willie is much more active than her. She is young, beautiful, and has a good figure, but she didn't send it out. If Willie didn't succeed, she would probably be in trouble too. Hey, where is Wayne? Don't you want to play cards? Willie sat up in a daze, and Mona pressed her little head to blow the bottle. After a few thumps, she fell back and was completely motionless. On the other side, Wayne took out the Book of Seals through the shadow nightmare, sensed the direction of the obelisk, and confirmed that the unfortunately lost obelisk fell into the Strait of Ireland. It's not on the route, we need to make some moves. Wayne insisted on taking a long detour, not because he was worried about an ambush by the Snow family. It was so funny, the leader, Orb, was dead, what could these remaining rubbish do? After all, it's all about the obelisk. He couldn't wait for the return journey and had many nights and dreams, so he planned to return the obelisk to its original owner tonight. After roughly determining the location of the obelisk, Wayne sent the obelisk away through the shadow nightmare and went along the deck to the stern of the ship. The cabin is off limits to ship passengers, but for the magician, this is no problem. Cabin. The huge diesel engine roars and roars. The surrounding pipes and instrument panels are arranged in an orderly manner. Every detail is precise and solid. The rotating pointer on the instrument panel represents the powerful heartbeat of this giant beast. In the dim cabin, there is a unique smell of machine oil and sea breeze. If your nose is sensitive, you can also smell the smell of sailors' smelly socks. Veronica. I was careless, I didn't expect the environment in the cabin to be so bad. If I had known that the environment was so bad, I should have gone to the waiting hall of the Cathedral railway station with Willie. Having said that, Veronica still endured it. She was not a spoiled young lady, and some hardships could not hurt her at all. Besides, she disliked Wayne's teasing face even more than the bad environment in the cabin. Hey, Veronica, you're here too. Such a coincidence, you shouldn't be following me, right? I know, you like me. Thinking of the proud face of social trash, Veronica couldn't help but scratch her hair and curse the other person for being sentimental. It was just a coincidence that she came to see Willie. Chi. A mouse slipped past Veronica's feet. She was so startled that she froze on the spot and waved her hands away. Damn social trash, get out of here, or we will put you in a can and fill the sea. Just as he was talking, two figures walked down from the top of the deck. They were both dressed in black and were not dressed like sailors. Veronica frowned and looked at the two of them. In line with the principle of doing more than doing less, she took a few steps back and her figure disappeared into the darkness. Are you sure it's the ship? Of course, the information that Master spent a lot of money to buy from the Ministry of Magic, they are all on board, it can't be wrong. It's so unlucky that the family's top line actually fell. I've always heard that guy is very powerful. Why did he suddenly lose power and be suppressed? Who knows? Just complete the task obediently. Why do you care so much? That's the Queen. The Master and his family are making money to go to other countries and still live a prosperous life. But we servants will be miserable. We will lose our jobs on the spot and we won't know where to eat in the future. Where to eat is not a meal, you and I have all the skills, why are we afraid that we won't be able to find food? The two of them muttered and chattered a bit. After entering the cabin, they checked the dashboard one by one, took out the crime tools from their arms, and caused the most irreversible outcome at the minimum cost. They destroyed the engine and made the cruise ship unable to move forward. Veronica frowned and watched this scene. Green mist spilled from her fingertips, ready to plant some mushrooms on the two thieves. Suddenly, a wisp of hot wind blew past the ground, pressing all the spores in the mist to the ground. There are experts too. Veronica was startled, and her whole body was on alert and in combat mode. At this time, a pair of hands stretched out from the darkness, covered Veronica's mouth, hugged her arms tightly, and just dragged her into the darkness. Who? So strong. Veronica struggled hard, and fine white scales appeared on the back of her hands and entered a fighting state. There was a puff of wind in her ear, and she was bitten on the ear. She froze and went limp. In the cabin, the two thieves finished everything with a bang and destroyed the diesel engine. They were too lazy to pack up their crime tools and left the scene of the crime as quickly as possible. After a brief silence, Veronica elbowed the social trash behind her and walked out of the dark area angrily. Why don't you let me take action? What good will it do to you if the ship breaks down? This way I can stay with you on the sea for one more day, the sea, the moonlight, and my fiancée. How romantic. Wayne walked out, clutching his ribs and baring his teeth. Veronica couldn't hear the words related to the marriage contract. Just like Monica who had her tail stepped on, she screamed and asked Wayne to stop talking nonsense. I'm not talking nonsense, otherwise why would you be on a cruise ship and sneaking like a thief? Wayne had an I understand look on his face. He happily leaned next to Veronica, raised his hand to wrap around her waist, but without touching it, he grabbed the air and put it under his nose. The smell of engine oil is very strong, you don't smell good anymore. Snort. Veronica turned her head and said, "Don't be too pretentious. I'm here to chase Willie. She's stupid and not very smart. I'm worried that she'll be in danger if she comes out alone, so I'm just protecting her secretly." "Then you're late. Willie is in my room, drunk a lot, unconscious and still undressed." Veronica was furious and went up to deal with Willie. Wayne followed her speechlessly and complained, "Generally speaking, men are beaten in this situation. Why are you beating the victim?" Veronica stomped her feet, feeling embarrassed as she was squeezed. She turned around and punched Wayne hard on the nose. "After this punch, your anger has subsided? You go find Willie. My secretary is also in the room. You can stay there tonight." Wayne reported the room number, and when he saw Veronica's wary face, he rolled his eyes and said, "They're all dressed up, I won't sleep there tonight, you know me, I'm just talking, I'm very conservative." "It's weird to believe you." Veronica snorted and left. Looking to the future, Willie will definitely be Wayne's little lover outside. Damn it, can't you just learn from your senior sister? Chrissy won't do unnecessary things. For a moment, Chris's image in Veronica's mind became even more glorious. She was gentle and kind, beautiful and generous, and very smart. She would never believe the lies of social rubbish and willingly be deceived into the trash can to be a dish. After walking 2 steps, Veronica found that Wayne did not follow her, and cast a curious look. "Those 2 guys should be coming for me. I'll go see what they are up to." Wayne explained, "I'll do this kind of rough work. Remember to take a shower when you go back. You're smelly and you don't smell good anymore." Every sentence accurately provoked Veronica's anger, and not a single word was used correctly. Veronica turned around and walked away, but stopped after 2 steps. "Wayne, is this what Mr. Landau taught you? But I can't learn it." "You can learn it, he just doesn't want to teach me. I'm different, I can learn it even if I'm not taught." Wayne finished speaking patiently, and said gently, "Go back quickly, the picture is too ugly, it affects my glorious image in your mind, I don't want you to see these." Veronica was amused, looked up and left, not knowing who to show her pride to. Wayne's style changed, his eyes sinister, and walked towards the deck. "What did I say? There are traitors in the Ministry of Magic, these people can't stand the test, even the whereabouts of the Imperial Envoy have been leaked. When this lord returns to Beijing to report to the old Buddha, I will catch you all and kill you." At this time, the 2 thieves got on the lifeboat and paddled on the sea. Their mission is to destroy the cruise ship, delay the arrival of the investigation team, and buy time for the Snow family to destroy the evidence. It is impossible to go against the Queen. The Queen can crush the Snow family to death by just pulling a hair from her thigh. They don't have the courage, let alone the strength. The plan is going well. Go back to get the money and enjoy yourself for a while. Don't you want to leave Windsor with the master? Forget it. He can't protect himself. He may have food and shelter in Frank. We have nothing. I am very loyal to help him for the Queen's sake." "That's right. Go to the Republic of Ireland. I heard that the church keeps its word there and the little boy is very open." He X3. Hey, why are there 3 sounds? Echo, maybe. Is there an echo on the sea? X2. The 2 looked at each other and pulled out the pistols at their waists at the same time. Looking at the source of the evil laughter, they saw a figure walking on the sea. Black trousers and white shirts are particularly eye-catching in the moonlight. Without saying a word, the 2 raised their guns and shot. Boom! The waves surged and rolled up, and the lifeboat under the 2 people was like a fragile dead leaf, which was ruthlessly overturned by the waves. With a series of foam surging, the lifeboat became a coffin board, pressing the 2 people into the deep sea. "Thank you very much for your help, otherwise I would be the one who destroyed the engine. I am a kind person and don't want to do bad things. I was almost entangled to death just now. Wayne touched his chest with one hand to show respect, and the magic power that maintained stability under his feet dispersed, his body sank rapidly, and the whole person fell into the sea. Bang! A ball of white foam exploded, and the waves rose and splashed in all directions. The undead warhorse jumped out of the sea, spewing purple flames from its mouth and nose, walking on the waves, running at an incredibly fast speed. Under the moonlight, the grey cloak of the Death Knight danced, and the broken death aura spread along the sea surface, smoothing the waves, leaving a dead silence. In a certain sea area of the Elan Sea, a cargo ship marked with Windsor Freight Company floated quietly. The engine stopped working, the propeller was motionless, and all the lights were off, as if it was a ghost ship, without any sound. Right below the freighter, the 10-meter wide air mass slowly sank, and several people who were obviously magicians pushed their hands away, resisting the pressure from all around by controlling the water flow. The man standing in the middle was carrying a briefcase, with a black cover and crossed white bones. In the center of the cover, there was a white face with a strong hellish wind. The man's name was Guy, the Golden Mage, the highest person in charge of the Church of Death in Frank. Under the order of the Death Knight, to be precise, it was the Death Knight who conveyed the oracle of the Goddess of Death, asking Guy to seal the obelisk and bring it back to the Paris underground tombs. The oracle was above everything else, and Guy set off immediately, hijacking a Windsor freighter and coming to the designated sea area. Logically, this job should not be done by Guy. The Church of Death has a highest person in charge in Windsor, Guy's colleague, the Golden Mage Sebastian. Some time ago, Sebastian disappeared. Let's just assume he's missing, that's what the Death Knight said anyway. The knight has been a little crazy lately, saying Sebastian is missing, saying he was impersonated, and then saying Sebastian was killed by him. He's been making a lot of noise and making a lot of noise. Guy, who lives in the underground tomb, is panicking, fearing that the Death Knight will kill him one day, so he decisively enters Windsor after receiving the order. He has thought it through. After sealing the obelisk, he will ask his younger brother to bring the sealed book back to Paris, and he will stay in Windsor, take over Sebastian's industry, and report to the headquarters for a change of post. The Death Knight is unstoppable, and the underground tomb is strong. It doesn't matter whether he, the Golden Mage, is there. On the contrary, in Windsor, which has a favorable geographical location, the Life Alliance has been gaining momentum in recent years. Sebastian is an incompetent person who cannot promote the glory of the goddess, and he should take over the heavy responsibility with his stronger ability. In this way, not only can he avoid the crazy Death Knight, but he can also take over Sebastian's legacy and make a small profit. It's perfect to win twice in one go. Lord Guy, we are almost at the bottom of the sea, diving to a depth of 100 meters, everything is going well. Well done, Lord Knight is happy, and he will definitely reward you handsomely. Guy made a pie in his mouth, his eyes penetrated the darkness of the deep sea and saw a dark golden light. It was easy to get, this task was too simple. Guy couldn't figure out why Sebastian failed in such a simple task. He is not a fool, maybe the target appeared too close to London last time. Guy found a reason for his colleagues, this time was different, it was a long distance away from London. It's stable. Restarting the myth. Author, Feng Chao Huang. Chapter 195. The average water depth of the Elan Sea is 60 meters, and the deepest is less than 300 meters. The location where the obelisk fell is about 100 meters from the sea surface. For ordinary people, a 100-meter free dive is an extremely difficult record. Without professional training day and night, the possibility of successfully challenging the record is very small. It is possible to go down, but the key is to be able to come up after going down. Many people sink directly to the bottom. For magicians, a 100-meter free dive is not a big problem. Even without magic, strong physical fitness can ensure that they can easily go back and forth. The four magicians pushed away the water flow, created a magical version of the submarine in the air, and sank 100 meters to the vicinity of the obelisk. The 50-meter-high obelisk lies across the deep sea, all gold, and is engraved with a giant pattern holding a thunderstorm. Guy did not hesitate, opened the suitcase-sized seal book, and began to seal the obelisk. The seal book has long been set to a trigger mode, and the interior is a sealed space. Black chains sprang out, wrapped around the obelisk slab and tied it tightly. Then, a slender pale arm stretched out, clamped the obelisk on both sides and put it into the Book of Seals. Mission accomplished, easy and effortless. Sebastian, you are a waste indeed. Guy closed the Book of Seals, called his four brothers and was about to leave. Suddenly, he sensed a huge energy approaching rapidly, and waved his hand to cast multiple death barriers to block the enemy who attacked secretly. Who are you, sneaking out quickly? Guy shouted loudly, grey mist surged in his eyes, staring at the other side of the barrier. Under his gaze, the figure ignored the death aura, easily passed through the multiple barriers, and rode out on a warhorse. Death Knight? Sir Knight, why are you here? Guy was shocked and hurriedly dispersed the multiple death barriers, explaining that he had no intention of offending, and hoped that the Death Knight would forgive his rash behavior. You did a good job, much better than Sebastian. I was right about you. Wayne spoke slowly, driving the undead warhorse towards the few people. His skeleton body had a layer of thick death aura, which blocked the seawater from penetrating. The moment he saw the seal book, Wayne guessed the other party's identity. After testing, he was indeed a member of the Church of Death, a subordinate of the Dullahan. Chasing and rushing to deliver equipment, the Dullahan was good in every way, but he was too polite, which made him embarrassed. If you have the ability, continue next time. Sir Knight, why are you in Windsor? Guy asked the same question as Sebastian. Do you really want to know the reason? I spoke out of turn. Guy hurriedly shut up. Knowing too much is not a good thing. He was very afraid of the Death Knight. He presented the seal book with both hands and did not want to stay here for long. Wayne did not take the seal book. Summarizing the experience of the last time, he guessed that the Dullahan had hidden a thought in the seal book. The same routine, Wayne had no reason to be fooled twice, looking far into the deep sea. Leave the Book of Seals, you can go, I still have things to deal with, you are lucky not to disturb its long sleep. Guy and the other five swallowed their saliva quietly, curious about who the it that made the Death Knight feel like he was facing a great enemy was. Based on the principle of not asking if the leader doesn't say, they pretended to be deaf and dumb, respectfully put down the Book of Seals and were about to leave. At this moment, a wisp of grey mist emerged from the Book of Seals, split into two on the spot, one hit Wayne, and the other manifested the figure of the victim on the spot. I knew you had a trick up your sleeve. Wayne pulled out the Shadow Nightmare, the blade deflected the cold light, and slashed straight at the grey mist. He defended, but failed. As the masters of the Shadow Nightmare, Wayne and the Dullahan had almost the same authority, at the same level, and no one was higher than the other, but the Dullahan's thinking strength was definitely higher than Wayne. After the violent collision, the Shadow Nightmare disappeared, Wayne passively dropped his vest, and the death energy wrapped around his body, floating in the sea with a helpless look. Another grey mist turned into the appearance of a headless knight, roaring angrily, Guy, pick up the seal book, he is not me, he is just a despicable, shameless, low-class thief. Guy stared at the scene in amazement, his head buzzing, and he didn't understand what happened at all. The four younger brothers had the same expression, standing there stupidly, confused for a while. Guy, don't pay attention to him. Wayne sneered, a guy without a head, a traitor who betrayed the goddess's faith and served the devil, What qualifications do you have to call yourself a Death Knight? I am the real God's choice." The headless knight roared angrily. Guy looked left and right, although he didn't understand it very well, but he felt that Wayne's words made some sense. Let's not beat around the bush. When Guy received the sealed book, he felt that this book was full of hell style, which was very different from the style of his own church. The knight betrayed the goddess, and the goddess chose a new knight. The two knights were full of contradictions and were fighting. The question is, if the two knights chosen by God are fighting, they can go to the goddess if they are not satisfied. What does it have to do with Guy? He is just a golden wizard, a little brother under the two big brothers. He is nothing. What qualifications does he have to participate in the fight between knights? Guy didn't say anything, pretending to be dead in silence. He didn't leave directly, nor did he pick up the sealed book. This is what a mature magician looks like. The headless knight immediately scolded, "You idiot, don't be fooled by him. I have never betrayed the goddess's faith. If I were really a traitor, the goddess would have taken back my power long ago. I don't want to say more about the alliance with hell. Everything is in accordance with the oracle of the goddess. I advise you not to ask too much. That is not what you should know. Although the Dullahan has no brain, his mind is not bad." He cleared the suspicion on him with 2 sentences. Guy was in a dilemma, sweat dripping down his forehead. The final right of interpretation was in the hands of the two knights. He could not contact the goddess, so how could he know who was true and who was false? In his opinion, this was nothing more than a team, and the two knights forced him to express his position immediately. Guy did not move for a long time, and smiled dryly. Seeing this, the Dullahan was furious and turned into grey mist and rushed into the air mass. For a time, death was everywhere and screams continued. Wayne folded his arms and watched quietly. He and Guy had no grudges, and he would not kill without knowing each other's character. At first, he really planned to let the 5 people leave and put the blame on the Death Knight for the sealed book. Unfortunately, these 5 guys saw his face. Since that was the case, he could only do nothing to help. The death aura dissipated, and the 5 mages of the Church of Death turned into skeleton soldiers and stood in place. Their minds were wiped out by the Headless Knight, and their bodies were hosted by the Headless Knight. If there was nothing to die, they would have died first. Wayne looked closely and found that the 4 brothers were just strengthening the skeleton soldiers. It was Guy who was really hosted by the Headless Knight's mind. He was wearing a tattered grey robe, holding a bone sword in one hand and a fist-sized ruby in the other. White light was jumping in his eyes, and his upper and lower jaws were grinning, making a strange laugh. That's all. If he retained the strength of a golden mage, I might be afraid of him, but he is nothing now. What can you do to me? Wayne curled his lips. Among the many little eyeballs, Death was far ahead and had a transcendent status. He could suppress Doran, the golden mage of the Moonlight Church. If it were Guy, who had the same faith, he would be confident that he would stand still and the other party would not be able to do anything to him. He was already defeated, and after his mind was wiped out by the Dullahan, he was no match for him. Wayne didn't understand, and mocked the Dullahan for being an expert in internal fighting, and was quick and cruel to attack his own people. You are too proud too early. Guy laughed strangely, and rushed towards Wayne with a white bone sword in his hand. The sword cut the sea without showing any sharpness, neither whirlpool undercurrent nor sword wind. Wherever it passed, it wiped out all life and left absolute tranquility. There is something. Wayne narrowed his eyes slightly, stretched out his hand to transform into a crystal blood sword, and the sea current behind him stirred, pushing him to speed up, and the sword dance hit the white bone sword. There was a crisp sound. The blood-colored crystal sword in Wayne's hand was broken, and the white bone sword continued to move, and it fell directly on his neck. Wayne was not panicked at all. He was immortal, and he was not panicked even if his head fell off. His magic power burst out, and the long accumulated fist blasted down and hit Guy's sternum. As the fist came, the sword also came. A ray of scarlet spread in the deep sea. Wayne covered his bleeding neck, his eyes full of astonishment, and he couldn't believe that his immortality was broken. On the opposite side, Guy was knocked over by a heavy punch, and swirled in the sea water. His bones, strengthened by the Headless Knight, were extremely tough. After Wayne's full-strength attack, he didn't even suffer a minor injury of bone fracture. Ga ga ga. Guy laughed strangely, and a wisp of death was lingering on the white bone sword, which was taken away from Wayne. As the ruby flickered, this wisp of death was swallowed into it. Can the death aura be taken away? Wayne stared at the scene blankly, his neck was squirming with white foam, and the sword wound healed seamlessly. The next second, greed flashed in his eyes, and he suddenly remembered that this thing was destined to be with him. It was clearly a treasure he had lost. No nonsense, the configuration of the white bone sword and ruby is the beggar's version of Shadow Nightmare. He owns Shadow Nightmare, and he has the right to claim the imitation. Take it. Wayne's chest squirmed, and the half-liberated holy spear of heaven was in his hand. The white light split the sea, and the waves rolled wildly around, splitting a vacuum zone. Wayne suddenly accelerated by pulling the vacuum, and his body turned into a white stream of light. The scorching spear tip was like a meteor that cut through the night and came to Guy in an instant. The spear tip was unstoppable and pierced Guy's skeleton chest. Holy flame exploded. Boom. The calm sea surface raised huge waves, and the undercurrent rolled and surged, rumbling in all directions. Under the deep sea, the death energy collided with the holy flame, and two figures strangled one. The mud, sand, and rocks were lifted up, covering a dark area. 4 elite skeleton soldiers were entangled by the holy flames, and the death energy was burned out. The ashes were scattered and merged into the sea. Wayne waved his spear and suppressed Guy with his speed and strength advantages. He learned the swordsmanship of the Headless Knight for the first time. It was very different from Valkyrie's dragon-slaying swordsmanship. It needed the cooperation of a warhorse to exert its full power. Without a horse, the power was greatly reduced, and there was not much to watch. Wayne was not in a hurry to burn Guy to death, and took the opportunity to learn a few moves from him. Guy laughed strangely. The power of heaven, you said I betrayed the goddess and turned to the devil, then what about you, didn't you also turn to the angel? Really? 2 generations of Death Knights, one was bound by the devil's alliance, and the other became a reincarnated angel. None of them served the goddess of death loyally. If it were someone else, he would have been so angry at this time that he tried his best to explain that he was not a traitor. Wayne doesn't know how to do it. He has never had any faith. The free wizard regards faith as a business, and he regards faith as fast food. When faced with the ridicule of the Headless Knight, he happily listens to it as a compliment. That's right, this Lord's way is so wild. More, love to listen. Under the deep sea, the sound of metal clashing continued, and the scorching white light penetrated the grey death air, wantonly venting its brilliance. Around the sea area, a variety of marine creatures suffered. Either they were roasted by the high temperature and slowly floated to the surface of the sea, or they were stripped of flesh and blood by the death air, and their bones fell to the seabed. Boom! The white light rushed out of the sea, briefly shining, and disappeared in an instant. Wayne tore Guy apart, and the holy spear picked up the skull head and spun around. I am not your opponent in Paris, and you will never beat me in Windsor. Next time, be more sensible and don't waste my time. As he spoke, he stuffed the fist-sized ruby into his pocket. The bone sword was not picked up, it was broken. The sword itself has no ability to deprive the death air, which is due to the thinking of the Headless Knight. This pointed out a clear way for Wayne. The Headless Knight can do it, and he should be able to do it too. Thank you for your teachings, the student has nothing to repay, so I will send you on your way. The tip of the gun glowed with white light, and the scorching holy flames burned fiercely. As Wayne's magic power exploded, the temperature exceeded 2000 degrees in an instant, and the water turned into hydrogen and oxygen and met the open flame. Boom! Wayne floated on the surface of the sea with a dusty face, and found the right direction to transform into wings and fly into the sky. One tentacle rolled up the Book of Seals, and the other tentacle played with the ruby. The process was not difficult, and the result was very good. It felt that the Dullahan deliberately gave him equipment. He was still cutting after reaching the bottom. The Dullahan's character was good. Wayne was deeply moved and was moved by a skeleton. If there was a chance in the future, he would definitely return Yulia to him in person. Don't worry, brother, it's 90% new, just like it has never been used. Cruise ship. The first mate and the seamen and maintenance workers were busy in the engine room, and the captain was sweating profusely, standing on the deck to explain to the passengers why he was stranded. A lifeboat disappeared, indicating that there was a traitor among them. Fortunately, the problem is not big. This is a popular route. The captain guarantees that everyone will not stay on the sea for too long. At most, they will be rescued by noon tomorrow. The cruise ship has complete living facilities and sufficient food. The captain said a lot, but he didn't say the reason why the traitor destroyed the engine. This is a slide that cannot be touched. In-depth analysis, smart passengers will soon associate it with pirates. In the chaos, irrational passengers are very likely to throw him, the captain, into the sea. Wayne looked out and took a sip of melon. When he passed the corridor, he was blocked by Veronica. "Why are you here? Didn't you join in the fun?" Wayne was touched. "I know, you are worried about me and waited for me here, right?" Seeing Wayne's ragged and embarrassed appearance, Veronica couldn't help but feel distressed, but the arrogant one said one thing and did another, and it was impossible to expect her to tell the truth. Coupled with Wayne's foul mouth, she successfully provoked her anger, and she sneered back on the spot, "Seeing you full of confidence, I thought you were so powerful, but in the end, you were beaten to the point where you lost all your clothes? There are so many people over there, 4 golden wizards and a legend, it's already amazing that I can come back alive." Wayne was full of nonsense. Veronica didn't believe it, frowned and said, "What's the matter, are you seriously injured?" "No big deal, just a minor injury, it will be fine after a good sleep." Wayne waved his hand and pointed at his thigh and said, "It's just that my leg hurts a little, if you don't mind, you can help me rub it." "Mind? Forget it, I'll go find the secretary, she will definitely not mind." Veronica was furious, pressed Wayne's shoulders and pressed him against the wall of the corridor, and looked at the sealed book wrapped in tattered clothes. "You don't say a word of truth, what is this?" Wayne didn't say anything. Veronica wanted to grab it, but failed to grab it. "Asshole, I'm a dragon blood mage, not a spoiled young lady, why don't you let me see it?" Veronica was extremely upset. Austin was like this, and so was Wayne. They said they were doing it for her own good, but they treated her like a child. "Who are you looking down on? Be patient, you're still growing up. I'll tell you when you become a golden mage." Wayne rubbed Veronica's head and walked towards his cabin. "My legs hurt so much, I need to find my secretary to relax. She's very skilled. Do you want to try?" As he spoke, his steady step suddenly limped, and he deserved a beating. Veronica was furious, and she kicked the garbage out of the society to fill the sea, but she didn't kick it out. She wanted to say something, such as "let me do it," but she didn't have the nerve to open her mouth. Tsundere and Golden Retriever, a complete loser. The camera turned to the big bed in the cabin. Wayne was lying on the bed with a towel wrapped around his waist, and Mona knelt beside him to help him relax his leg muscles. Social Scum was so comfortable that he kept humming. On the side, the drunk Willie arched her back, and her golden head had its own navigation. She accurately drilled into Wayne's side, hugged one of his arms and fell asleep. Wayne didn't say that he was surrounded by women, but he was definitely in a perfect relationship. Veronica gnashed her teeth and wanted to confiscate the tools of the crime with scissors immediately. As the saying goes, flies don't bite seamless eggs. Social scum should die, and the shameless Mona and Willie should also die. Veronica couldn't figure it out. There were men with two legs everywhere on the street. What was so good about social scum? Why did they surround him and show their courtesy? Couldn't they learn from Chris? If the senior sister was here, it would definitely not be like this. Bang bang bang. There was a knock on the door. Wayne didn't move, Mona concentrated on kneading his legs, and Willie fell asleep. Veronica looked around and found that the outsider was actually herself. She came to the door angrily and opened it. She looked charming and youthful. She looked ordinary when she looked at them separately, but they were top-notch when they were together. You have another woman outside? Or mother and daughter? Veronica was in a bad mood. She stared at the aunt and nephew with shining eyes and said, "Who are you looking for?" Denise was so scared that she hid behind her aunt. Sandy's eyelids twitched slightly, revealing an elegant and polite smile. "Looking for Sir Wayne, the cruise ship is anchored, discuss tomorrow's itinerary." "He's dead," Veronica said unhappily. Sandy's smile did not change. She looked at the cabin with her peripheral vision and saw Wayne in a pile of makeup. She was surprised to find that a silver party was being held in the house. Her eyelids jumped again. "Sir Wayne looks very busy. I won't bother you. I'll come tomorrow." "Shameless, you still want tomorrow? Are you waiting in line here?" Veronica glared at the backs of her aunt and nephew as they left, and slammed the door shut. The last time she saw such a bitch who was so good at giving herself away was in Mr. Landau's office. She was so tired that she didn't want to say anything. She missed Bayou Egwang. It would be nice if the senior was here. Veronica was unhappy. If it happened again, she would never tell Willie and would definitely drag Chris along. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Restarting the Myth. Author, Fengchao Huang. Chapter 196. On the evening of November 25th. The cruise ship, which had been delayed for a whole day, arrived at the port of Doolin in the Republic of Ireland. As the capital and largest city of the Republic of Ireland, and also the second largest city in the Windsor Federation after London, Doolin has a rich history and culture, warm in winter and cool in summer, and beautiful scenery. It is a tourist destination. Unfortunately, the group brought the Queen's secret order, and no matter how beautiful the scenery of Doolin was, it had nothing to do with them. Everyone took a luxury train in Doolin and rushed to Fast City in Northern Ireland where the Snow family was located. Ireland and Northern Ireland originally belonged to the Windsor Federation, and the railways were connected in series, making it very convenient to enter and exit. As a well-known port city in Northern Ireland, Best City has convenient sea shipping and transportation. The group can go directly here from Liverpool. Wayne disagreed and insisted on transferring to Doolin Port and then taking the train to go by land. He was the first person in charge of the investigation team, and he had the final say. He used the reason of being on guard against the ambush of the Snow family to leave others speechless. As he expected, the Snow family was really ambushed, and the cruise ship was maliciously damaged. Luxury train dining car. Wayne enjoyed a midnight snack, with Willie on the left helping him cut the cake, and Mona on the right holding a silk scarf to help him wipe his mouth. He shook the red wine in his hand slightly, and felt that his life had reached its peak. Opposite was Veronica, with a pretty face, as if everyone owed her money. Wayne knew that Mona and Willie were doing it on purpose, so he didn't stop them. He smiled secretly while waiting for Veronica to get angry. He got the obelisk and sent it away through the shadow nightmare when he changed trains. The biggest task of this trip was successfully completed. He was satisfied and just wanted to have some fun. The Queen's secret order was very important, and the Snow family should indeed copy it, but valuables were also divided into levels. Compared with the obelisk, the Snow family was worthless. When they arrived at the place, they could handle a few official words and the task was completed. Before that, the three women were a play, which was really good to watch. Wayne, the cream cake is so delicious. Willie cut a piece of cake and ate it herself, her eyes narrowed into crescents with happiness, and then cut another piece and fed it to Wayne's mouth. Using the same fork, there is no taboo. Veronica is very taboo, dragon blood, possessiveness is very strong, both hands twisted the table knife into a twist, glared at Willie fiercely. Willie, you may not know, Wayne is the heir of the Landau family, the Queen has recognized it. The words were pronounced heavily. This was the first time she mentioned Wayne's identity as the heir to the outside world. What was the implication? She believed Willie could understand. Willie took a breath of cold air and took a bite of the cake to calm down. How could this be? Wayne is Mr. Landau's illegitimate son. Asshole, still pretending to be stupid and cute here. Veronica was so angry that her chest was swollen. She put down the twisted table knife, reached out, grabbed Willie's cheeks on both sides, and kneaded them like dough. You idiot, you clearly know that he is not. He can be the heir for another reason. So, what is the other reason? I am so stupid, how can I understand it? Willie broke free, covered her red face, and said confidently, Veronica, I advise you not to underestimate idiots. If you don't tell me, how can I understand it? Veronica froze in place. She was ashamed to admit that Wayne was the heir. She dared to say it out loud by bullying Willie. It would be better to kill her if she let her reveal the truth. That's right, don't underestimate idiots. You don't know how stupid we are. Wayne came to life and joined the condemnation team, singing the same tune with Willie. Mona also came in, with a curious look on her face. So, Veronica, what is the reason? The three of them colluded with each other, pretending to be confused when they knew the truth, and it was obvious that they had Veronica in their hands. If you don't tell us, don't blame us for pretending to be stupid. X2. Veronica, are you going to say something? Wayne urged. Veronica sat down and turned her head to look out the window. She felt so wrong that she couldn't open her mouth. I didn't know that Wayne was Veronica's brother. Willie was beaming with joy and passed the cake to Wayne's mouth. It was hard to tell what she meant by this action. It seemed like she was assisting Wayne or making excuses for herself. Wayne, let's play cards tonight. No, I'll have a good sleep tonight. I have a task to complete when I arrive at the station tomorrow morning. Work is important. I'll play with you after I'm done. Wayne swallowed the cake in one gulp and looked at Veronica with a smile in his eyes. His bullied look was also very cute. The four of them left the dining car, and Sandy and Denise, the aunt and nephew, dared to enter. Seeing the silver party with her own eyes, and a girl showing up halfway, made Denise respect her aunt's social experience as if it were a god, and at the same time she had a deeper understanding of the Landau family. The father is a playboy, and the son is also a playboy. The genetic inheritance is correct, and they are definitely biological children. When I go back, I will tell my colleagues about what I saw and heard during this trip, so that they will be careful in the future and not be fooled by the sweet words of the little playboy. You can't regard Sir Wayne as a good man just because he speaks well. He has a lot of fun. He has had improper relationships with three beauties along the way. Still in the same room, together. The next day at dawn. At the Fast City railway station, a black convoy has been waiting for a long time. The man and woman in the lead are from the Snow family, namely the current head of the family Adelaide and the third daughter Marianne. The former is dressed like a gentleman, with a neatly trimmed beard and quite majestic, and the latter has a charming appearance, long red wavy hair, and her bloodline is very characteristic of the local Irish. Seeing Wayne and his party walk out, the two greeted them with smiles. "Sir Wayne, let me introduce myself, Adelaide Snow, this is my daughter Marion Snow, on behalf of the Snow family, we welcome you." Adelaide was neither humble nor arrogant, not only welcomed Wayne, but also greeted the secretary Sandy warmly. "It turns out to be Mr. Adelaide, you are really well informed, I think you should know the purpose of the sir's visit," Wayne said with a smile. "Of course." Adelaide nodded. "The Snow family has been wronged today, Sir Wayne's arrival just happens to clear the Snow family's grievances, please rest assured, I have summoned all the family members to cooperate with all your work throughout the process." "That's great, to have such a loyal citizen like you, the Queen must be very happy to know." Wayne shook hands with the other party and led the team to get into the black car. He refused to ride in the same car with Marion. The woman looked like a vixen. When shaking hands, she bent over to show her cleavage. It was so white that it made people's mouths dry. She was clearly an upper-class socialite. If he sat in the back seat with her, he might have lost hundreds of millions before reaching the station. Wayne did not ride in the same car with Mona. He smiled and invited the secretary Sandy. There was a driver in the team, and the two chatted on the way. "Ms. Sandy, do you know Adelaide?" "Sir Wayne, this is my first time in Northern Ireland. I have never had any contact with the Snow family before." Sandy explained a few words to let Wayne not fall into the other side's alienation plan. "The Snow family not only knows our itinerary very well, but also knows our appearances very well. As for the Ministry of Magic, I hope you can say a few good words in your report and make sure the Queen hears it clearly." Wayne sighed. "There are treacherous people in the country who serve the old Buddha. As the future successor of the country, he feels pain in his heart." Sandy nodded. "If the itinerary is leaked, she will also be in danger. Wayne doesn't need to say much, it will be written in the report." She took the opportunity to make her position clear and expressed her support for Sir Wayne. During the investigation, Wayne had the highest command of the team, and she cooperated throughout the process without any complaints. "You are good at passing the buck. I have the highest command authority." Wayne curled his lips and didn't give Sandy face. "The people of the Snow family destroyed the cruise ship and delayed it for a day. What can they do in a day? It means that they have bought the news from the Ministry of Magic. Now the evidence has been cleaned up, and they came to show off their power to me. If I am not wrong, they have prepared a celebration banquet. We will have a good meal today." Sandy smiled bitterly. The Snow family made their attitude clear. They are not afraid of investigations. They will investigate at will. This trip may be troublesome. She, the clerk, will not participate. She hopes Wayne will not disappoint the Queen. Evidence is not so easy to erase. One lie requires 100 lies to cover it. The more innocent it is, the more traces it leaves, especially the witnesses. It is not possible to hide them if you want to. Wayne analyzed it and had a rough plan in his mind. "Sir Wayne, are you going to force it?" Sandy asked tentatively. "If so, this is the territory of the Snow family after all." She advised Wayne to restrain himself. "Forget about forcing me. I'm going to have fun for a while. Anyway, it's not our money." Wayne raised his eyebrows. "No hurry, just play with him." Hearing about fun, Sandy felt it necessary to remind him, Adelaide didn't bring the eldest son and the second son, but brought the third daughter. "Sir Wayne, you should be able to guess what his purpose is. I hope you don't fall into the trap and think more about the Queen." Wayne, 1-1. "Madam, your words sound weird." Wayne was labeled a pervert for no reason. He felt very wronged. He had a bad memory and was afraid of forgetting. He retaliated on the spot and said to Sandy, compared to Marion, a woman with a flirtatious look, I prefer mature and restrained intellectual ladies, such as the single woman sitting next to me now. Sandy's eyes jumped. First, he thanked Wayne for his compliment, and then skipped the topic and returned to work. The Snow family's manor is located in the urban area of Fast City. It covers a huge area and is more than 3 times larger than the Landau Manor. In addition to a newly built house, there is also an ancient castle with complete supporting facilities, and several villas guarding the house, which are high above the ground and have a 6-pointed star structure as a whole, with a standard magic defense mechanism. According to intelligence, the Snow family followed the times and completed the transformation of the new aristocracy before the constitutional monarchy reform, from a large landowner to a large capitalist, opened a bank and built a factory, actively promoted the construction of the port, and owned a shipping and trading company. The family business is very large. With a legal source of income and a rich family background, it is natural to have a larger house. As Wayne expected, on the day the investigation team arrived, the Snow family held an open-air party on the lawn. All family members were present and sincerely invited the investigation team to share local food and cultural characteristics. The cultural characteristics refer to red hair. The maids of the Snow family basically have red hair, all with big waves, with Marianne being the most popular. After taking a sip of red wine, she looked at Wayne with tears in her eyes. Marianne's figure and appearance are really good, she is a charming beauty, but she is also a beauty trap, she can't make Wayne fall in love like Philomena. The reason is that the consumption level has risen, and he has eaten more good things, and he has begun to pay attention to psychological and spiritual satisfaction. So what if she is beautiful? A noble lady from a small place is not even worthy of carrying shoes for the high priest of the Moonlight Church. If you want to use a beauty trap on him, Lord Way, you don't have the status of a high priest, so you should stand aside and don't humiliate yourself. Wayne was not pretentious with Marianne, but in the face of the latter's attentiveness, his few words were just perfunctory words such as he, and busy. Marianne showed off her charm for a while, but when she saw that she couldn't win over Wayne, she was somewhat unconvinced and temporarily left the show, planning to put on her combat uniform tonight and sound the clarion call for the general attack. It's not okay for Wayne to question a woman's attractiveness in public. Well done, you're wise. Veronica looked on with cold eyes and labeled Marianne as bitchy. Just as she was about to step forward to mock the social trash, she saw a golden retriever head coming forward and started chatting and laughing with the social trash. It's you again. Veronica was furious. Willie had a way to kill her, so he would kill her tonight. The welcome banquet lasted until after afternoon tea. Wayne politely declined Adelaide's arrangement. The investigation team booked a hotel and would not stay at the Snow family's estate. Adelaide tried to persuade him to stay but did not insist. Again, he cooperated with the investigation throughout the entire process. All staff were on call and he would make arrangements wherever he wanted to investigate. Don't rush into the investigation now. Our group traveled on a train and a ship, and also spent a day drifting at sea due to an accident. I'm going to let everyone relax in these 2 days, eat and play when it's time, and gather enough energy before investigating. Wayne said. Sir Wayne, I will arrange a tour guide for you. Marianne is very good. Maybe she can bring you some surprises, Adelaide said meaningfully. A double surprise, one was Marianne herself, and the other was the small gift she brought with her. Then I'll have to look forward to it. Wayne raised his glass with a smile and touched Adelaide with orange juice. It's up to me, you do it. Adelaide cursed inwardly, suppressing the discomfort and drinking it all in one gulp. By the way, I heard that the ancestors of the Snow family were rich. Because they were loyal to the royal family, they assisted their ancestors to become the king of Elan and made great contributions. They were awarded the title of knight and a fief. Indeed. Adelaide replied, our ancestors used this fiefdom as a plantation and provided a living wage for many hard-working farmers. Later generations inherited the teachings of their ancestors and took great care of the people of the fiefdom, so they were very popular. Support. Wayne rolled his eyes on the spot, wondering what kind of plantation it was, bananas or cotton. Where is that fiefdom? Nature is in the hands of the Queen, Sir Wayne, and all the land in the country belongs to the Queen. Adelaide took the opportunity to show her loyalty. He is also very funny. The effect was average. Wayne did not accept this trick at all. He was loyal to the Queen in the Constitution, not the Queen wearing a crown. If forced to choose, he wanted the crown jewel. Adelaide probably realized that Wayne and she were the same kind of people, and Adelaide smiled even more, feeling that she was sure, and said that she would arrange for Marianne to be a tour guide and take Wayne around the former fiefdom of the Snow family. Thank you for your hospitality. I'm very satisfied. I hope we can have a drink with you next time we meet. Sir Wayne, I hope so too. I wish you success in your investigation and a successful outcome. Luxury hotel in Fast City. The Ministry of Magic, no, the Landau family to be precise, had reserved the top floor in advance to accommodate the investigation team. No one would be stupid enough to live in the Snow family. Putting aside the danger, it would not be good if the Queen found out. In the suite, Wayne looked at Mona and Willie carrying suitcases, and then at Veronica who was standing by the window looking away, and secretly thought something interesting. Roll. All rolled to death. There are still vacancies on this floor, so I won't talk about such useless nonsense. Wayne arranged, this suite has 2 bedrooms. Willie and Veronica will live in the larger one, and Mona, you will live in the smaller one. We'll see when the time comes. You can sleep anywhere, it won't be too crowded. Mona, that's nice to say, I've never seen you squeeze in before. Veronica, Willie, you're dead. Willie, do you want to play cards tonight? Following Wayne's announcement, Veronica clenched her fists and was about to drag Willie into the bedroom. Stopped by Wayne. What are you doing, are you still protecting her? He said this with the tone of a master of a family. If you have the ability, accept the engagement, don't occupy the latrine. Don't fight yet. I have plenty of time in the evening. I will be the referee then. Wayne checked the time, I've asked around, and there are many luxury stores in the city. I feel like I can embezzle a lot of money this time. I'll open a champagne in advance and treat you to shopping. There were so many flaws that Veronica didn't know where to pick them up. She despised the society's rubbish and said angrily, aren't you going to check the Snow family's accounts tonight? What am I doing there tonight? Sneak in and bring out the ledgers. Isn't this what covert investigations are all about? Yes, she is also wearing a vacuum tights, the kind that makes her bulge when she farts. Wayne rolled his eyes, stop showing off your IQ. Snow Manor is a magical fortress. Even if I can break in, they will have been prepared. What's the point of fake accounts? Veronica frowned, what does shopping mean to make them lower their guard? No, it's just shopping. I suddenly want to buy you clothes. Wayne patted Veronica on the shoulder. She left the house too quickly, without bringing a suitcase. She was wearing Willie's clothes, which were not the right size and did not hold them up. Veronica's face turned red, she groaned and looked away. The social trash came late. The last social trash was willing to spend money on her. He just wanted to please her with 2 pieces of clothing, but there was no way. Boss, are you going to start the investigation from the fiefdom? Mona took over. Well, according to intelligence, the Snow family is very close to the traitor Orb of the Ministry of Magic. For a period of time, Orb often walked around Fast City. Wayne narrowed his eyes, the legendary wizard must have left some legacy here, and the fiefdom is the most likely. Could it be the devil? There are not so many devils. Wayne rolled his eyes. This is the human world, not hell. If Orb really has a devil partner, he will not flirt with the thousand-eyed demon. So, there must be no devil in the fiefdom. Restarting the myth. Author, Fengchao Huang. Chapter 197. Night. Wayne was at the scene, proving that the air quality in Fast City was 10,000 times better than that in London, because it was a port city, and the air had a high proportion of wind and water elements. The three girls came back from the store and went straight into the bedroom to change clothes. In the same bedroom, there was a lot of chatter. As a fashion designer, Wayne wanted to go to the scene to give guidance on dressing, but someone had locked the door and locked the professionals out. Willie was used to being given away for free, and Mona didn't know how to lock the door, so it was easy to imagine who that person was. Beware of perverts, but gentlemen should be on guard too. Wayne petted the dog and played with the cat, muttering to himself that he was not fair, and suddenly frowned, shrugged his nose and looked at the door of the suite. The smell of perfume. Bang bang bang. Knock on the door. Since the incident of the silver party, the aunt and nephew never knocked on Wayne's door at night. Even if the house was burned down by fire, they would wait until the next day to see each other again. Wayne knew a limited number of women in Fast City. The three most familiar ones were changing clothes in the house, and the aunt and nephew were unlikely to come to his door. He could guess the identity of the visitor with his toes. Great, business is coming. Wayne opened the door and saw Marion, who was dressed enthusiastically, standing in the corridor. The eldest daughter of the Snow family was wearing a red evening dress, with red lips, red hair, and white waves, and her eyes were so charming that they could be drawn. Not bad, a good assist. Wayne heard it very clearly. The moment the door was knocked, the chattering bedroom immediately quieted down. "Sir Wayne, I'm sorry to bother you. I wonder if I can have the honor of inviting you to listen to the musical." Marion carried a suitcase and bent down to put it by the door. The movement of bending down was very slow and ladylike. The evening dress was deep V and round, and the arms display began. After standing up, she lifted her long red hair by her ears. Her body language was charming, making it difficult for people to refuse her invitation. Wayne didn't refuse. He put on white gloves and picked up the suitcase. "Come if you want to." "What are you bringing?" "Don't do that next time. If someone sees you, they will think that this lord is openly accepting bribes." "You are joking. These are local specialties. They are not worth much." Seeing that Wayne didn't refuse, Marion's eyes became more charming and she mentioned the musical again. "What kind of musical are you listening to at night? Look at your outfit. You are not only taking care of your head, but also your butt. Are you a performer?" Wayne knew what Marion was going to play tonight. The score was written on her chest. If the material was correct, it should be an orchestra. That kind of high-class brass instrument usually has piston keys, and there are also rotary valve keys. The trumpet is played first and then the trombone. As the performance progresses, it changes from orchestra to percussion. It is very informal. I am very honored to receive an invitation from Miss Marion, but... Wayne was halfway through his words when the bedroom door opened and a hand stretched out to hook Wayne. Then another hand, and then another hand. "Marion. But as you can see, my body doesn't allow me to participate in such an intense activity as a musical." Wayne supported his waist and said regretfully, "Let's do it another day. Tonight's schedule is full. You can make an appointment with my secretary tomorrow and she will arrange a time for me." Click. The door closed, and Marion's eyes went dark. She only heard a laugh from inside the door. He, little beauties, here I come." She snorted coldly, shook her long hair by her ears, and left with an angry face. The task was half completed. Wayne left her gift but not her. Just looking at the result, the beauty plan was undoubtedly a failure. It had nothing to do with her personal charm. There were too many people on the other side and Wayne was in poor health. The failed result proved that the beauty plan was feasible. The Union Jack wearing Lord London liked this. The question is, how can you travel on public funds without trying local specialties and bring your own food? It can't be that all three of them are secretaries. Marion didn't understand and said that Wayne was a weirdo. In the suite, Wayne rubbed his hands and was about to go into the bedroom, only to see one of the three little hook hands slap the other two away, close the door and lock it again, and he was turned away. Wayne pouted, he knew it would be like this, picked up the suitcase and went to the sofa in the living room. In the alley, more than 30 gift boxes were beautifully packaged, all of which were some gorgeously crafted jewelry and jade. Wow, this gem is so big. The bedroom door was pushed open and Veronica poked her head out. Wayne glanced at her from the corner of his eye. Sure enough, the teacher was right. The dragon blood girl liked shiny things. Veronica frowned and came to the living room. While unpacking the box, she said, "The Snow family bribed the leader of the investigation team. If you accept it, it means you are giving them a protective umbrella. The Queen will definitely not let you go if she knows." Willie and Mona also came over to share the fun of opening the box together. "That's great. The Queen will be very happy to know that I accepted bribes." Wayne took out a bank counter key from the suitcase and pushed the suitcase in front of the three women. "If you like it, just take it directly. No need to be polite to him." "Why is the Queen happy?" Veronica wondered, picking and choosing a gem that she liked. "Because I have low-level desires." Wayne was concise. If a person has no desires, he is either ambitious and eager for more, or a stinky salted fish who does not seek to make progress. These two types of people, the former is tabooed by the leader, and the latter is not worth cultivating. Neither of them is the type that the leader likes. A qualified younger brother, whether he has low-level desires or not, must make himself a vulgar person and take the initiative to hand the handle to the leader. In this way, the leader will reuse you and train you. If the leader is a king, the value of this hidden rule will be infinitely higher. Veronica frowned and listened, and said with disgust, "You are acting, and the Queen also knows that you are acting. She is not a fool, and there is no reason to be deceived by you. Attitude is very important. If you don't go along with others, you won't get along well with your colleagues. If you don't give excuses to the leaders, you won't get focused attention." Wayne leaned on the sofa and laid out the facts and reasoned, "Just like I am not a pervert, but I always bring a secretary with me wherever I go. This time I brought three of them with me, so that the secretary can tell the Queen that Sir Wayne there are weaknesses and desires, which are easy to handle. Oh, by the way, when we were riding in the car today, I flirted with the secretary and said she was my favorite type. That's really wronging you." The grooves were too dense, and Veronica was stuck without spitting out a breath. After a while, she said, "So Mr. Landau has always kept Meghan with him. Is this the same reason?" "No, he and Meghan really had an affair." Wayne lowered his voice, hooked his fingers at Veronica, and then said after the other party came closer, "I asked, Austen didn't act, he really had sex with Meghan, more than once. How about this? Just know it, don't tell the teacher, I promised him not to tell anyone." "That's unreasonable." Veronica gritted her silver teeth and swore secretly that she would tell her mother when she went back. The next second, she looked suspicious and muttered, "Why would Mr. Landau tell you such a thing? You are not his leader. Are you lying to me? You're laughing so hard, why don't you go out and ask around? I still need to discredit Austen's reputation. The two bad things I said about him are clearly a whitewash." Wayne sneered, and then gave Veronica a contemptuous look. "He told me this because he was jealous that I was too upright and not black enough. He asked me to learn more from him and bring a secretary with me wherever I go." Veronica was a little convinced and punched Austen hard in her heart. "Damn social trash. Did you consider her feelings when doing this? It's so abominable. Why do you teach me everything? Also, Austin also said that this is for your own good, Wayne said quietly. Ah. Veronica was stunned. She was not good at all. As the heir to the Landau family, I will inevitably have beautiful women around me in the future, such as Miss Marion just now. Her purpose tonight is not just bribery. Wayne was persuasive and deceived Veronica with half-truths and half-lies. Bribery can only solve the Snow family's immediate predicament. In the future, without the protection of the Ministry of Magic, how can the Snow family rely on it to dominate? Veronica said blankly, Sir Wayne, you are the heir of the Tulip family. If Marianne becomes your lover, the Snow family will have a new backer in London. Yes, that's it. Wayne snapped his fingers, stood up suddenly, and held Veronica's shoulders with both hands. Austin is wrong. You are very smart. You can integrate into this dirty circle with just a little guidance. Veronica turned her head and looked aside. She was happy to be recognized, but she really didn't want to fit into the circle. Go on, now for the second question. Wayne pointed at Willie. If she is the goblin who seduced me, and you are not present, how can I escape? Veronica looked confused and looked around, and Mona suddenly came into view. That's right, it's still like this. Wayne raised his hand and took Mona into his arms. The latter cooperated and leaned on his shoulder. I carry a secretary with me. Even if the little goblin comes to the door, there are still secretaries who come out to drive him away. 3 secretaries just drove him away. Marianne. It's true. Combining theory and reality, Veronica couldn't find a reason to refute, but... Asshole, how long are you going to hold me? Isn't this acting? The teacher is very polite to Megan. Wayne patted his butt, let go of his secretary and stood up obediently. That's because Mother doesn't know society's rubbish. In short, Mother has been deceived, and she will definitely not be polite in the future. Veronica insisted that Sci-fi must not know, otherwise Megan would have flown into the sky. It's hard to say that a teacher is such a smart working woman. She has never seen anything. How could she not be able to tell? Wayne sneered twice and said to Veronica, if you don't believe me, go back and ask to see if the teacher knows. If she is perfunctory and makes excuses to leave the children alone, it means that she knows everything in her heart. I'll ask when I get back. Veronica snorted coldly and told Wayne not to be too proud. She couldn't tolerate a secretary in her eyes, even a secretary who was used as a shield. Wayne secretly laughed in his heart. The combination of Austin and Megan was so strange, especially when Megan was so similar to the teacher and the two had a good relationship. If Austin really has an affair with Megan, Wayne hopes that Veronica will learn from her teacher and be tolerant. And if Austin and Megan are innocent, Wayne hopes Veronica will ask why. This question has been bothering him for a long time. It's not appropriate to ask Austin, it's not appropriate to ask the teacher, it's inappropriate to ask Megan. The housekeeper lady rolled her eyes so hard. In short, no matter what the outcome is, whether Veronica can ask for something or not, Wayne will definitely make money without losing money, and this business can be done. Willie expressed dissatisfaction. Wayne was single and she was single. How could she become a goblin? Why do you know in your heart that I will make you look good tonight? Veronica said with a sideways glance. I don't understand unless you tell me. Veronica didn't say anything. She would never talk if she could. She pressed Willie on the sofa and suppressed her violently. The result was the same as before. Willie actively admitted her mistakes, refused to change, and kept saying that she came first. Wayne nodded secretly. It was indeed Willie who came first. At that time, she was still a big guy with double ponytails and sailor shirt, and she would poke people at any time. A farce ended with playing cards. On the 27th morning, Wayne, the leader of the investigation team, called all the staff in the restaurant. Fast City has a long history and culture. All staff are allowed to take 3 days of paid leave. They can eat and play as they please. All expenses are paid by the Ministry of Magic. Anyone who dares to save money will be against him, Lord Wei. In addition, if anyone finds any clues during the tour and is found to be useful after review, they can receive a special bonus. Everyone was eager to fight, expressed their support for Lord Wei, and went out to run performance. Sandy was stunned and grabbed Denise, who was eager to make money. "Sir Wayne, are you serious? Of course, there must be brave men under a big reward. My promise is not only valid for my own people, but also for the servants of the Snow family." Sandy suddenly realized and praised Wayne's wisdom and expressed admiration for the excellent genes of the Landau family. Veronica. Another blind man. This IQ can be a secretary for the Queen, and she can sleep with her. Oh, by the way, I have never expressed anything when I first met the two ladies. This is a belated gift. I hope you don't refuse. Wayne took out 2 gems from his pocket, one for each of the aunt and nephew. "Sir Wayne, it's too expensive." Sandy politely refused, and pulled out the hand held by Wayne. "There is no need to refuse. The Snow family bribed me last night and sent the eldest lady to seduce me. I have taken the blame." Wayne grabbed Sandy's hand and handed over the 2 gems with a wink. Sandy was stunned. When she came to her senses, Sir Wayne had already left with 3 secretaries. "And, what is Sir Wayne doing? Doesn't he know that you are the Queen's secretary?" "Well, he may be doing it on purpose." Sandy's eyelids twitched, and she warned her niece with a serious face, "Denise, this man is very dangerous. Remember to stay away from him and don't be curious." "And, he has never approached me." "You should stay away from him, right?" Denise pouted. "Well, he should also be doing it on purpose." Sandy smiled embarrassedly. "It's true. Sir Wayne didn't do anything to me, but instead showed her kindness several times." "Is it true? Can the little playboy bear it?" At the same time, on Wayne's side, Secretary Mona drove and took a tour of Fast City according to Wayne's request. Fast is a port city with very developed freight and shipbuilding industries. The unsinkable Titanic was built here. "Boss, there's a car following us. Do we want to shake it off?" Mona glanced at the rearview mirror. 2 cars have been following us since they left the hotel." She was too lazy to even act. "No, let him follow." Wayne leaned against the back seat. "I sent a professional intelligence officer to collect intelligence. According to the time, it has already reached the Snow family's fiefdom." "Who is it?" Veronica next to him asked curiously. The arrangement of the seats in the back row was very interesting. Mona drove the car, the co-pilot was empty, and Veronica sat in the middle of the back row, separating Wayne and Willie. She didn't say it, but her body was still very honest and knew how to protect her food. "It's the dog I brought." "Is it an intelligence officer?" Veronica asked curiously. "Speaking of which, there seems to be something wrong with that dog. It gives me a strange feeling. It's too smart. It's not an ordinary dog. It's a magical life. It has a very sharp nose." "It's sharper than your dog's nose," Veronica sneered. "Well, it's smarter than my dog." Veronica punched the air with her fist, and she felt uncomfortable because it didn't go up or down. She continued, "Where did you get the dog? Why haven't you seen it before? There are many things you haven't seen. I have many magic pets, including cats, dogs, people and horses." "I don't believe you. You'll deceive ignorant girls all day long." W omega W diamond suit T gone diamond suit O. Veronica didn't believe it. "I'm asking you a question. Where did you get such a powerful dog? Did Mr. Landau give it to you?" "I made it myself." Wayne said truthfully, "There are many small props in the Ministry of Magic. It's not a problem to make a person, let alone a dog. There are too many things involved. Those who understand will understand. I can't say it clearly for those who don't understand. I advise you not to delve into it. Veronica nodded, and there were some filthy things again. Boss, where are we going next? To the Snow family's fiefdom. If I'm not mistaken, there must be demons there, Wayne said with a serious face. Didn't you say no last night? That's because I didn't come. If I came, there would be demons. Wayne made no secret, the Snow family received the news early and cleared the evidence in advance. Although deep digging can also dig out some things, it is time-consuming and wastes manpower. If the Queen knows, she will think that this lord is incompetent and not worth training. So you framed me, Veronica widened her eyes. W omega W tan Ca. You can't say that. The premise of framing someone is that the other party is a good person. The Snow family is obviously not. This is called fighting evil with evil. The Black Gloves are all like this. Even if the Snow family is a good person, the Queen requires a thorough investigation. I have the King's order and I have to find something even if I dig 3 feet underground. Wayne glanced at Veronica and smiled. Do you feel uncomfortable? The means are too insidious. Yeah. That's just the beginning. Austin is more insidious than me. I learned it from him. Wayne sighed and felt that learning is endless. He still has a lot to learn on the road of social garbage. You are still proud? Humph. Veronica turned her head and didn't want to hear these things. The persistence in her heart began to waver. She was not suitable for this circle. Maybe Mr. Landau was right. There is nothing wrong with Wayne being the heir of the Landau family. Restarting the myth. Author, Fengchao Huang. Chapter 198. The black car drove to the Snow family's fiefdom, and the 2 cars behind followed all the way. Wayne ignored it. It would be best if he caught up with them and caught the person red-handed on the spot, so as not to say that Lord Wei had framed him and tarnished his reputation. The car slowly drove out of the city, and the road was slightly bumpy. Wayne found the right opportunity to approach Veronica, and said that the road was uneven, which made Veronica grit her teeth. She didn't say anything and endured it silently. By the way, I gave a thumbs up to my own wit. If she hadn't been prepared and intervened in advance, Willie would have sat on Wayne's lap just now. Bah, shameless. 10 minutes later, the car stopped in front of a church. At Veronica's urging, Wayne opened the car door calmly and took out the map from his arms to study it. The urban area of Fast City is not big. Compared with London, it is a piece of land the size of a palm. The territory of the Snow family is not far from the city center and has been built into an industrial zone. Because of the local customs, the music atmosphere is very strong, there are many drunkards, and bars can be seen on almost every street. Take this territory as an example. The church is located on a bar street, and the priest standing at the door is dizzy. Sir Wayne, see you again. The car that followed stopped, and Miss Marian with big waves smiled and came forward to discuss the appointment with Mona seriously. She didn't ask for much, just 1 hour. To be so attached to this, it can be seen how correct the attitude is. Veronica didn't like it. She hated Marian's clothes and Marian's bulging chest. Anyway, she hated everything. She said with a dark face, I am Wayne's. What? Wayne asked curiously. Nothing. Veronica let it go in one breath, and went further and further on the road of loser. Marian didn't take Veronica seriously at all. She looked like a female college student who was not experienced in the world. She hadn't learned all the moves yet and her mind was full of hypocritical love. Sir Wayne would get tired of playing with such a girl. Willie next to her was probably the same. She was silly and innocent. She didn't look very smart. On the contrary, Mona, who was dressed in a workplace outfit, had a wise light flashing in her glasses from time to time. She was Sir Wayne's confidant and would not be replaced for at least 10 years. Marian had never thought of becoming Mrs. Landau. It was unrealistic. She came for a lover from the beginning. She was very confident in her charm and magic. As long as she was given an hour, Wayne would become her servant. By then, the family crisis would be completely overcome. Sir Wayne, if you don't mind, I'm willing to act as a tour guide and take you to visit the scenery here. Sorry to bother Miss Marian. Wayne looked around and picked up the map and said, I heard that the Snow family has many properties in the fiefdom, and there are also several holiday estates, which are specially used to receive VIPs. Yes. Go to the largest estate. I want to sit down and have a drink. There are bars all over the street. Drinking anywhere is not okay. Going to the estate is a clear excuse for investigation. Marian smiled slightly and agreed. The investigation team came late. If it had been 10 days or half a month in advance, the things in the estate would have been found out. Now, it doesn't matter if you check it casually, even if you tear down the factory. Marian is full of confidence. 2 cars lead the way and take Wayne into the largest holiday estate in the territory. The architectural style of the estate is full of classicism, with white walls, blue roofs, and exquisite decorations, which are elegant and romantic, which makes people shine. The estate is fully equipped with a service team. As long as the guests of the Snow family have any requirements, no matter what, the professional team will serve wholeheartedly. Wayne nodded with satisfaction. The Snow family was very rich, and he had decided to do this business. No wonder the Queen wanted to confiscate the family. Not long after Orb left, the Ministry of Magic pulled out a series of lists. This group of new nobles who changed jobs were really arrogant. If the Queen didn't confiscate them to death, she would be sorry for the crown on her head. Sir Wayne, are you going to stay here tonight? No, there is a smell of sulfur, which reminds me of it, I think of it. Wayne struggled with his words and asked the people around him, what does sulfur mean? Hell. Mona pushed her glasses, there are signs of demonic activity in this room, very obvious, I can feel it. Marian's eyes widened. Why did she bring up the devil out of nowhere? Yes, it's hell. Wayne insisted, sniffed the perfume in the air, found it, the source is in the underground wine cellar. After that, he took the lead and walked in front. Marian was stunned, suddenly remembered something, and hurried to catch up with the group. The wine cellar was quite spacious. Pushing the door and turning on the light, 8 rows of shelves were filled with wine barrels, and the mellow aroma filled the air. Under Marian's shocked gaze, the floor tiles were crookedly painted with an inverted pentagram pattern, and there was a totem on the wall, which was full of blood and the wind of hell blew in the face. Mona, which devil does this totem represent? It should be the blood tyrant, but the inverted pentagram on the ground is related to the arrogance of one of the 7 demons. 2 devils appeared at the same time, so it is not yet clear. Under the guidance of Wayne's mind, Mona pulled out the cross in the warehouse and pretended to recite a few spells. The holy light was faint, and the inverted pentagram on the ground glowed red. The shadow of the bat symbolizing arrogance slowly condensed, but it was defeated by the holy light and disappeared without a trace after a silent roar. On the contrary, the blood totem on the wall struggled for a long time. The red light flickered on and off, and the fist-sized blood crystals condensed into a block, like a fist-sized ruby, and jingled and rolled down to Marianne's feet. Veronica was stunned. Wayne's dog was really professional. It's just that the magic circle is not round enough and is as crooked as a dog crawling. Marianne picked up the blood crystal at her feet, her face full of confusion and arrogance. She knew what the blood tyrant was. Has the family ever summoned this devil? Probably not. Even if there were, the traces would have been cleaned up long ago and no such conspicuous evidence would be left behind. So, this is shameless slander. Miss Marian, there are 2 devil's faith totems in the Snow family's manor. Aren't you going to give me an explanation? Wayne said in a sullen voice, with fingerprints all over it. Hurry up and take action. Marianne naturally denied it and said hurriedly, Sir Wayne, not to mention that the Snow family has no relationship with the devil. Even if it does, it will not be placed in such a conspicuous place. Someone has framed the Snow family. Please seek justice. What, you said Sir Ben framed you? No, I didn't say that. Miss Marianne, the entire investigation team was under the supervision of the Snow family. No one framed you. You can deny it, but you know it in your heart. Wayne stepped forward, his eyes dark, a ray of thought scattered, taking advantage of Marianne's panic, interfering with her reason and making her even more confused. Marianne heard the devil's whisper in her ears. The Snow family's protective umbrella is Deputy Minister of Magic Orb. He has made a deal with the devil and has also stayed in a resort. There are some things that are inconvenient for him to do, but he can leave them to the Snow family. From this, you can master the power of magic. Miss Marianne, Orb is a legendary mage who is best at deceiving people. The Snow family was deceived by him. He treats you as experimental subjects and claims to be equal cooperation, but in fact he has been using you. I'm different. Sir, I'm here to save you. Tell me what Orb asked you to do. The sequelae are very serious, but now there is hope for help. Yes, you are right, Lord Orb indeed. Marianne's vision was in a trance, and her eyes suddenly opened. A ray of thought spread out, breaking away from Wayne's mental control, and said condescendingly and viciously, you control my consciousness and want to trick me into telling the truth. Opposite him, Wayne's eyes lit up and he swallowed with a gulp. Veronica, Willie, and Mona also widened their eyes, surprised by the scene in front of them. Marianne secretly thought that was bad, looked down at her hands, and then noticed that in order to get rid of the mental control, she subconsciously entered the transformation mode. At this time, Marianne's body shape changed drastically. Her height increased to 2 meters, and a pair of black wings sprouted from her back. The red dress on her body burst open, exposing her inside and outside to Wayne's eyes. 2 backward black horns sprouted from its forehead, its legs turned into reverse-jointed sheep's hooves, its arms and calves were covered with black hair, and there was a tail as thin as a whip behind it. The figure is even more voluptuous than before, with graceful curves, plump and elastic, and delicate skin, exuding an alluring luster and body fragrance. The already charming face has exquisite features, red lips as bright as blood, and goat-like horizontal pupils. This appearance can be recognized by ordinary people who have not studied magic. Succubus. Oh my God, there's an unexpected bonus. Wayne's eyes widened. He was framed by Zhendang. Really big, wrong, really white, wrong. How evil. By the holy light, this evil is worth fighting. Stay back, I'll take care of her. Wayne strode forward, rolled up his sleeves and was about to punch. Pull it down, look at your squinting face, your saliva is almost flowing out. Veronica snorted coldly and stepped forward to flatten Marianne's chest. What's wrong with the succubus? The succubus doesn't need to wear clothes. She has 2 hanging things dangling around. Who are you showing this to? Mona was faster than her, she spread her fingers, and the holy light barrier pushed out like a high wall, hitting Marianne hard. The powerful impact knocked Marianne away and knocked down the wine rack behind her. The red wine flowed down the enchanting curves, and the alluring aroma became even more alluring. Wayne gasped and shook his head to dispel his whims. As expected of a succubus, he has an innate ability to tug at the heartstrings. At a certain moment just now, he couldn't help but have the thought of fighting him for 300 rounds with a spear and bayonet. Mona, catch them alive. Snort. Mona snorted coldly, her eyes turned into golden light, and she looked at Marianne with murderous intent. The master has always killed all the devils, and suddenly wants to capture them alive. No, we have to create an accident later. Marianne had calmed down after the initial panic. Her black wings were spread out, and her voluptuous curves were clearly visible. Sensing Mona's murderous intent, she said viciously, "Sir Wayne, I wanted to use this appearance to get close to you so that you could help the family tide over the difficulties, but you only wanted to kill them all, and even after receiving the money, you framed them, then don't blame me for ruthlessly killing your 3 lovers." She raised her 5 fingers, flicked out her black claws, and fluttered her wings towards Mona. The holy light was unbearable to her, so she started with Mona. Veronica stepped forward, and Willie rubbed the golden sun with her hands, while Wayne held her shoulders. "You don't have to do it. I chose Mona as my secretary not because she is pretty." As they spoke, Mona and Marianne fought, and with just one encounter, the burning white holy spear tore the black curtain apart, pierced Marianne's chest with one shot, and nailed her to the wall. "So fast," Wayne complained, seeing Marianne was so evil and her harsh words were so fierce. He thought the other party could jump around for a while, but he never expected that she would be killed in one encounter. Speaking of which, since Mona signed a contract with him, her strength has been increasing, and she has become more and more powerful. "Ah!" Marianne screamed and held the energy holy spear in front of her chest. The attribute was restrained, and her hands were like holding a branding iron, and black smoke came out. She looked at Mona with fear. She thought she was a secretary who got promoted by the promotion device. She knew a little magic but was not that strong. Unexpectedly, she could not even take a single move from the opponent. "Such pure holy light, such terrifying energy, you are so good at fighting, why don't you go to the cathedral, but be a secretary? And 3 of them together. Can't you have a little pursuit?" Mona held the holy energy spear and won easily. She was a little surprised for a while. She didn't expect to win so easily. Just looking at the appearance, Marianne is not an ordinary believer of hell. It is clear that she has received the true teachings of the Lord of Lust, otherwise she would not easily become a succubus, and become so thorough. Mona's first attack was just a test. The silky little combo was ready. Unexpectedly, the opponent was so bad that she revealed her true form after a test. Caught between a dilemma, she planned to kill the succubus by mistake in the battle and prevent the opponent from getting close to the master. If she did it now, the master would be angry. "That's better, do it now." "Mona." Wayne's voice came to her ears, and Mona shuddered. She took 2 steps back and made way for Wayne to deal with the succubus. Veronica and Willie tilted their heads at the same time. As far as they knew, Mona was an employee hired by the detective agency. Because Mona had big breasts and long legs and spoke nicely, she was promoted to secretary and was trusted by Wayne. Now it seems that this is definitely not an ordinary employment relationship. Willie bit her hand and used her brain to think about what the relationship between the 2 was. "Why did you bite my hand?" Veronica pulled out her hand and hit Willie on the head with a knife. Ouch. She didn't care about Willie, who pretended to be stupid all day long, and quietly came behind Mona, showing the majesty of the hostess. "What's the matter? Why don't you just kill the devil instead of leaving him alive?" "Sorry." Mona bowed her head and admitted her mistake. She regretted it very much. Wayne, on his side, grabbed the holy energy spear with his backhand and pulled it out directly. When Marianne staggered to her knees, he transformed the holy light energy in his hand into 4 great swords to nail her hands and feet. Marianne screamed, slightly increasing the humidity of the air. The sweet and tempting aroma spread along with the wine, making Veronica and the other 2 cover their noses. Their heartbeats accelerated, their faces flushed, and their minds stabilized before they suppressed the primitive desires in their bodies. WT tan C0. Succubus doesn't target anyone, male or female, whether human or not, The charm kills all creatures. Even skeletons are killed. Wayne had been on guard and refused to be tempted for the second time. Looking at the slowly healing piercing wound on Marian's back, he became more and more confused. The strength shown by Marian was seriously inconsistent with her appearance and ability. The Snow family didn't have this ability. It must be something that orb did. The old guy had been flirting with Hell early in the morning, and perhaps the price was not agreed upon, so he finally found the Thousand Eyes demon. Sir Wayne, the Snow family is willing to serve you. All the family property, including me, will be given to you. Marianne slowly raised her head, her wet red hair stuck to her fair cheeks and neck, and her sweat mixed with wine exuded a mouth-watering aroma. Coupled with that seductive and weak beauty, it makes people want to destroy it, and they want to press her under their body and ravage her. Wayne frowned slightly, and with his guard, the succubus's temptation to him was just average. It sounds tempting, but I refuse. Wayne looked down on her. You are flirting as soon as you open your mouth. Do you really think I am a pervert? Look carefully, which of the three beauties behind me is not better than you? Not to mention the appearance, the deep emotional foundation is not something you, an outsider, can compare with. X3. Mona, happy. Willie, 3 so many. Veronica, Miss Bayou Egwang. Then why do you keep me? Marianne didn't believe it, and firmly believed that Wayne had been captured by her charm. The succubus looks anti-human, but in fact, she is the embodiment of evil and seductiveness. Every part of her body can stimulate the most primitive desire of life. Even a devout priest, such as the priest standing on the bar street, will tremble when he sees her. I'll treat you to mushrooms, Wayne said as a matter of course. Marian's lips curled up. As expected, this man has. Woo woo woo. Wayne's fingertips blurred the green mist, and he stuffed a handful of mushrooms into Marian's mouth with his backhand. He observed that although the latter's strength was weak, she was immune to mushrooms that were so delicious that they caused hallucinations. Mushrooms can't keep up with the version, I have to rely on myself. Wayne raised his hand and pressed Marian's head, his body trembling slightly, using himself as a source of pollution to confuse Marian's thinking and rationality, making her fall into a state of confusion and stupidity. This hypnosis technique has been tried and tested, and it has turned the high priest of the Moonlight Church from a tentacle monster back to a human being. It is much better than the spiritual temptation of the succubus. Hey, that woman is so obedient to me, can it be because of this reason? Wayne muttered softly, and the mental shock made Marian tell the truth. What is the deal between the Snow family and the Lord of Lust, and what role does Orb play in it? Lord Orb has been looking for the devil. Marian's eyes were blurred. As a succubus, she was enchanted in turn, and told everything she knew. It was a night 10 years ago. With the tacit consent of my father, Lord Orb opened the gate of hell and summoned the power of the Lord of Lust to transform me into a familiar. The Snow family has obtained the power of hell, not just the Lord of Lust. The power of the 7 demon kings has all arrived. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Restarting the Myth. Author, Fengchao Huang. Chapter 199. 7 Demon Kings. The astonishing answer stunned everyone. Mona reacted the fastest and said immediately, "Boss, the situation is extremely critical. We must contact the Holy See immediately. Diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit. Be patient and ask clearly first." Wayne's heartbeat accelerated a little, and he continued to torture Marian's thinking. Speak clearly, how did the power of the 7 demon kings come, and how much did they come? Our family hopes to obtain powerful magic through Lord Orb and get a place in the Ministry of Magic. We are willing to pay any price for this. Lord Orb's plan is hell. Marian spoke blankly. The Snow family wanted to make progress so much that they would make deals with the devil in order to squeeze into the magic circle. Orb has been looking for the devil of hell. He saw the ambition of the Snow family and opened the gate of hell with an alchemy array, introduced the power of the 7 demon kings into the world, and transformed the members of the Snow family one by one. For example, Marion was completely transformed according to the image of the Lord of Lust, so Marion obtained the body and some abilities of the succubus. Putting aside her strength, just looking at her appearance and some abilities, she is a succubus walking in the world. The rest of the Snow family members correspond to the familiars of the 7 demon kings. They are containers transformed by Orb to receive the thoughts of the 7 demon kings so that they can find suitable partners. Marion doesn't know much about Orb, and the information she knows is very limited. It has always been the head of the family, Adelaide, who has been in direct contact with Orb. Wayne combined the information at hand to analyze the process of Orb's layout. Orb failed. None of the 7 demon kings paid attention to him. Orb had no choice but to choose the devil Thousand Eyes demon located in the middle and lower reaches of hell. Later, he was greedy for Wayne's body and kicked the Thousand Eyes demon away. Wayne guessed what happened and breathed a sigh of relief. I said, the gate of hell is so easy to open, and the world has been full of demons for a long time. The Snow family is just an experiment for Orb to summon demons, and it is a failed experiment. Boss, don't take it lightly, Mona said. I understand. Although the 7 demon kings did not respond to Orb, they still gave their divine power. They don't mind having a suitable carrier in the world, Wayne nodded. A suitable carrier can carry more thoughts to descend. He has seen similar routines several times. The dragon blood and Holy Spirit physique of the blood tyrant and the half-human and half-insect of the thousand-eyed demon are all containers prepared before the advent. An excellent carrier is too important for the devil. If it is heaven and several other churches, the minimum requirement for the advent technique is also a bus physique. Although the 7 demon kings did not pay attention to Orb, they all gave divine power to create carriers, indicating that they have marked the members of the Snow family. Keeping them is definitely a hidden danger. In order to prevent more troubles, they must be eliminated immediately. It is to be eliminated immediately, not to leave them alive and send them to London. None of the legendary wizards in the Ministry of Magic are human. Wayne dares to send them alive, and they dare to inherit Orb's legacy and continue research. If the 7 demon kings descend on London one day, the legendary wizards would not be too few if they were shot 100 times, and Wayne would not be too many if he was shot 20 times. To put it bluntly, the legendary wizards are willing to make deals with the devil for their own future, and the queen would not mind raising a few devil carriers for the crown on her head. This is not an ordinary carrier, the carrier of the 7 demon kings. The Pope would shudder when he saw it. Let's go to the Snow family. Wayne took a deep breath. A simple house search could actually dig out such a big pit, which gave him a deeper understanding of the Ministry of Magic. Austin once said that the golden wizards of the Ministry of Magic are willing to sacrifice their lives for the country, but the legendary wizards will not. At this level, their personal interests are no longer tied to the country. Orb has proved that what Austin said is true. For his personal future, he boldly created the carrier of the 7 demon kings in Windsor. The question is, if Orb is like this, what about other legendary wizards? Have they done the same thing? So, don't check randomly, it will only cause trouble. Wayne looked at Marion lying at his feet and waved his hand to let Mona deal with her. Don't deal with everything, leave some things. For example, horns, wings, and tails, he will give these things to the queen. How to deal with them later, whether it will cause a bigger hole, that is not his concern. Having offended so many people at once, can Austin handle it? Wayne asked himself. Austin was not wiping his ass, but filling the hole. As far as he knew, it was Nuwa who filled such a big hole last time. After a little thought, Austin didn't have this ability. Wayne was happy to see human cannonballs and never thought of pitting Austin to death. He decided to call him first. Living room on the first floor. Mona carried a suitcase with materials exploded from killing monsters, succubus horns X2, wings X2, tail X1. The charming and enchanting Miss Marion died young. She was the first complete succubus Wayne had met, because the bottom line was still there was no love that was out of control. This is the situation, how are you going to deal with it? Wayne held the phone and waited for Austin's response. Veronica leaned over to listen, wanting to see how two generations of social garbage communicated. On the other side of the phone, Austin was silent for a long time, and then said, "I can't handle it, only the Queen can decide, wait for my call." "Wait a minute, if the Queen wants to live, do I also have to bring the Snow family back to London?" "When I told the Queen the news, it was destined that she would not survive." Austin sighed, "No matter what, superficial skills must be done, otherwise the Minister of Magic will set a precedent, and the legendary wizards will only follow the example. In the past, they had to hide it, but in the future they will no longer pretend. This is the power of role models." "I understand, I'm waiting for your call." Wayne hung up the phone. Mona stood aside angrily, and through thought transmission she accused the Windsor royal family of several crimes. In a nutshell, Windsor was a professional when it came to not being a good person. Wayne shrugged. He wanted to call it a historical cycle. The collision of human nature produced tragedies again and again. The latter came to watch history and actively recreate the cycle. Everyone knows that making a deal with the devil will not end well, but for one reason or another, they still chose to make a deal with the devil. Why did the 7 demon kings ignore Orb? Was it really because they looked down on the strength of Orb's legendary mage? Not necessarily. The 7 demons have a better partner, that's all. You see, this world is very dirty. It's far more complicated than you think. Be your eldest lady and don't show off. Wayne patted Veronica on the shoulder, who lowered her head and was speechless. 20 minutes later, the phone rang and Austin spoke succinctly. "The Queen has ordered that no one be left behind, and some stolen parts should be handed over to the Ministry of Magic. It should have been like this a long time ago." "I like to save trouble." Wayne curled his lips, called Mona, and was about to set off. "Wait a minute, I'm going to." Veronica grabbed Wayne's sleeve. "Didn't I tell you not to come in?" "I can't make plans, but I can execute them," Veronica insisted, not wanting to be a dispensable vase. "Okay, but don't tell Austin, or it'll be hard for me." Wayne nodded, glanced at Willie who was eager to try, put the two of them into a group, picked up the teacup on the table and arranged a 6-pointed star pattern. The Snow family's manor is a magic fortress. The overall layout is a hexagram defense. If any point is destroyed, the balance of the hexagram will no longer exist. Wayne glanced at Veronica. "How you destroy it is your business. Don't ask me. Remember, if you fail, both Mona and I may die." Veronica nodded seriously, grabbed Willie and left first. There was something she didn't say. The two generations of social trash were so similar that at a certain moment, their figures completely overlapped, giving her a very strange feeling. Austin and Wayne were biological father and son, and she was picked up. "Veronica, is there a possibility that Wayne is really your brother?" "Mr. Landau and another woman gave birth to Wayne. Because of the grievances of the big family, Wayne's identity was forced to be hidden," Willie said seriously. "Shut up, don't try to lie to me." Veronica hit Willie on the head with a knife and said unbearably, "He is the heir of the Landau family. It has been officially stamped and cannot be revoked. You should learn from senior sister Chris, she will not pretend to be crazy or stupid." "I learned it from my senior sister." Willie put her head in her hands. "You think the senior sister can't do it?" "I also think the senior sister has already kissed her. Their tutoring sessions are getting longer and longer, so there must be something fishy." "Shut up, Senior sister is not that kind of person. Veronica struck with the knife again, not allowing Willie to say bad things about Bayou Egwang. Wayne delayed going out for 5 minutes to prevent the servants at the resort from tipping off the news, and waved a patch of green so they could have a good night's sleep. The Queen's order was to kill them all. Wayne was kind-hearted and did not want to see a river of blood. He narrowed the scope to members of the Snow family and took Mona to drive to the Snow family manor in the city. Snow family estate. The black car drove through the iron gate and followed the driveway to the big house. The head of the family, Adelaide, came up to greet them warmly. He only saw Wayne and Mona, and couldn't help but said, "Sir Wayne, why aren't Marianne with you? I arranged for her to be your personal tour guide. She is so incompetent. Miss Marianne is here too." "Where?" "It's not urgent. I remember Mr. Adelaide said that all members of the Snow family will cooperate with the investigation and all family members are in the manor, right?" "That's right," Adelaide said solemnly. "The Snow family is loyal to the Queen and loyal to the country. As the head of the family, I welcome any form of investigation as long as I can prove the innocence of the family. Then if the Queen requires the entire Snow family to be loyal, will Mr. Adelaide comply?" Wayne raised his eyebrows. "Sir Wayne, please don't joke." Adelaide had a straight face, and the next second, she smiled and said humorously, "If this is the Queen's will, the loyal Snow family is willing to carry out the order. With your words, I feel relieved." Wayne patted his butt, and Mona stepped forward, opened the suitcase, and shook the succubus parts to the ground. "This is..." Adelaide's pupils shrank suddenly and she squinted her eyes to hide her shock. "Sir Wayne, what kind of creature's wings are these? Is it a bat? Why are they so big?" "The bat represents the arrogance among the 7 demon kings, and has nothing to do with lust. Mr. Adelaide, this is your daughter Marianne, who was transformed into a succubus by the traitor orb with your permission. You should recognize it," Wayne said quietly, still feeling a little sorry for the succubus. "It doesn't matter to him. The key is the holy light he represents. The reincarnated angel failed to go to the front line to guide the succubus to do good. If it reaches hell, he will definitely be ridiculed by the devil for being prude. The jokes from hell are transferred back to heaven, and there are also jokes in heaven. Next time there is a succubus, he will definitely do it himself." "Sir Wayne, I don't understand what you are talking about. She is not my daughter Marianne. Even if she is, the Snow family will not tolerate a traitor who has a deal with the devil," Adelaide said impassionedly. "With that serious face he has a gentlemanly face and a heroic spirit of killing relatives for justice. Mr. Adelaide, your daughter has recruited everything. All the Snow family members are devils, not one of them is human. The Queen has issued an order for you to move to hell." Green light surged in Wayne's eyes, and he spread the green mist with his hands. The fluctuations of his thoughts flowed into the earth with his feet, creating rumbles and waves. The trees and vegetation in the manor grew rapidly, quickly forming a dense forest. Countless vines broke out of the ground, tearing open cracks in the earth, and rolled together with the wildly growing lawn, destroying the existing landform of the manor like an earthquake. For a time, the vitality of nature filled the sky and the earth. What followed was the spread of hallucinogenic and human parasitic spores. Adelaide raised her hand to cover her breath. She originally wanted to quibble, but when she saw that the defense mechanism of the 6-pointed star was not activated, she gave up her last chance and roared, transforming into a familiar from hell. He is tall and strong, with a powerful physique. His muscular body jumps up to 5 meters high, with powerful bat wings extending from his back. 3 lion heads with silver-like manes are majestic and domineering, giving him a sense of oppression. The bat and lion symbolize arrogance and mean the head of the 7 devils. As the head of the family, Adelaide is the vehicle chosen by the arrogant lord. Divine power comes and transforms her into his familiar. Ho 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 ho. Roaring sound waves roared, the three lions waved their arms, their sharp claws cut through the roaring air, and rolled in surging waves of fire elemental air. In an instant, red light bloomed, and high-temperature flames suddenly erupted, plowing a red stream on the ground. Mona took a step forward, wearing a white combat uniform, and pushed open the holy light barrier with one hand. Boom! The red energy beam hit the white barrier, and violent flames spread to both sides. The ground shook violently, and the dry ground that had been burned by the high temperature suddenly exploded. The cracks and gaps spread layer by layer, dust filled the air, and a large amount of soil was lifted into the air by the impact. WT10O. It is worthy of the arrogance of the leader of the 7 demon kings. Even if it is a useful carrier, the power left behind is much stronger than lust. Wayne commented, either don't do it, or be the strongest. Where is this? Arrogant, clearly arrogant. In front of the big house, Adelaide failed to kill Wayne with one blow, and looked at Mona with great fear. The silver lion's hair was raised, and the whole body was wrapped in blazing flames. Wayne narrowed his eyes slightly and swallowed all the fire elements around him in one breath. Adelaide turned off the flames in an instant. Without the help of the fire element, he was left with nothing but steaming muscles, unable to spark any sparks. Judging from his incredible 3 lion heads, it can be seen that this is the first time he has encountered such a situation. Be gentle and don't damage the building. This will be my property from now on, Wayne ordered. Mona nodded, condensed the holy light spear with one hand, and tore through the hot air. Just a simple throw of the holy spear made Adelaide tired of dealing with it. Like Marianne, she's a very good-looking piece of shit, with some tricks up her sleeve but not much. Wayne looked elsewhere. The members of the Snow family were transforming one after another. They had all kinds of shapes. Just looking at the symbols, they were basically the familiars of the 7 demon kings. Except for Pride, which only had one carrier, the more other demons the better, and Wayne saw 2 more succubi. One is Marianne's mother, the current wife of the Snow family, and the other is Marianne's sister. Wayne's face changed in a second. If, he meant if, these 3 succubi came together and transformed at the same time, what investigation team leader could withstand such a test? What were you doing earlier? Hiding and tucking. Wayne looked at it twice and ignored it. The succubus kept her promise and came next time, so he pushed it to the next time. Not this time, but definitely next time. Wayne didn't take action. Veronica and Willie attacked the devil's carrier head-on. The 2 succubi were still floating in the air, but were burned to ashes by the little sun rubbed by Willie's hand. What kind of devils are the most threatening and need to be eradicated as soon as possible, and Willie knows them all. In comparison, Veronica felt threatened and rushed towards the wrathful Lord's familiar vehicle. Otherwise, the symbol of rage is a dragon, probably Marianne's second brother who transformed into a dragon tail and wings, which made Veronica very unhappy, and she punched him several times and smashed him into a photo. The battle was one-sided and there was no pressure at all. Ho 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 ho. Realizing that the Snow family was about to be wiped out and there was no possibility of salvation, Adelaide, who was fighting fiercely, roared with sound waves, tore his chest, and a black book wrapped in chains floated out from the heart. The material is unknown. It is inlaid with a big white face and a mask with black lips. It is mysterious and dark, and has a standard hellish Gothic style. The Book of Hell hangs in mid-air, and black energy rolls into the death vortex. Mona pulled back to avoid the strong suction force, holding the holy spear and spreading her wings to protect Wayne behind her. The vortex stirred up the manic air currents, and began to harvest all the members of the Snow family, stripping off the flesh and blood and symbols of the devil of hell, and rebuilding a body in the darkness. Wayne saw it clearly. It was a white giant 5 meters tall, with no facial features or muscles, and slender limbs that could be male or female. A black crack ran from the forehead to the lower abdomen, Black mud flowed, and faces of deep sin and pain floated up and down. What the hell, this is too weird. Wayne didn't think much about it, his chest split open, and put the holy spear of heaven in Mona's hand. Referring to the painting style of the chosen continent, the weirder the appearance, the stronger the ability, and the less human, the more powerful. I'm not interested in his complete form. Kill him while he's still transforming. Restarting the myth. Author, Fengchao Huang. Chapter 200. Holding the holy spear of heaven in hand, Mona's strength increased again. Continuous buff blessings brought her personal abilities to an unimaginable level. She spread her holy wings like a genuine angel descending into the world. Not far away, Veronica's eyes widened. Willie swallowed, closed her mouth manually, and said hurriedly, "Veronica, this bitch is more dangerous than the senior sister, hurry up and get rid of her." Walk. It's not shameful to lose to one's own people, but in the worst case, you'll switch to stealing in the future, and it's definitely not okay to lose to outsiders. Okay, when I get back. Veronica was about to agree, but suddenly became entangled. It's none of my business. She is Wayne's secretary. I have no right to expel her. You idiot, you will regret it. Willie was furious and struck the air with a hand knife. Being held by Veronica. Bang. Oops. Veronica returned the knife and looked at Mona with a cold snort, wondering why such a powerful cleric who could summon angels would obey Wayne's words. Not only did he obey his words, but he didn't fight back when his butt was touched. He clearly sold himself to Wayne. She had never seen such a shameless accusation in Mr. Landau's office, so there must be something wrong. Boom. The holy light pillar penetrated down and hit the chest of the white giant. The white holy flames merged into the dark vortex. Two completely opposite energies collided and crushed each other. They faced each other tit for tat again and again, and both sides were injured again and again. Just looking at this scene, there is no restraint between heaven and hell. The strong stay strong. If the overlord is strong, he can attack the overlord with force. On the contrary, if the boss is strong, he can attack the overlord with force. The boss's transformation was interrupted, before he showed his complete appearance. Under the burning of the holy flame, the twisted faces screamed, and were burned to ashes along with the black mud. The white giant's body was ignited, and the black vortex was powerless, completely collapsing and disappearing. Losing the confinement of the black vortex, the white giant waved his arms, and the melted limbs and rotten flesh fell to the ground. He struggled for a while before dying completely. A mass of rotten meat on the ground exuded a foul smell, and the book of hell was suspended quietly. Good stuff, there are extracurricular readings again. Wayne waved his hand and rolled up the vines. At this moment, a crack in space tore open, and an arm stretched out, holding the book of hell firmly. White gloves, a black suit, and a valuable watch on his wrist. Who, put down the evil weapon of hell? Mona shouted, and the holy spear of heaven pierced down. The terrifying holy flames condensed into lines under the shaping of thinking, and the lethality was so terrifying that it distorted the space. A speck of light fell on the white glove, but it did not cause any harm to the mysterious man. The latter took away the book of hell, closed the space rift, and showed no intention of showing up from the beginning to the end. Mona's eyes sparkled, and a ray of thought chased along the crack in space. The moment the crack closed, she saw the appearance of the mysterious man. Suit, tie, shirt and leather shoes, standard social elite appearance. Mona saw the mysterious man, but she couldn't see his face clearly. His true appearance was hidden in the darkness and mist, and she could only tell that he was a man. The background behind the mysterious man shocked her. St. Paul's Cathedral in London. The space cracks merged, Mona landed on the ground in a daze, returned the holy spear to Wayne, and told about the incredible scene. Are there any experts in London? Wayne was even more puzzled, guessing that the mysterious man came from the Ministry of Magic and was one of several legendary wizards. The background panel of St. Paul's Cathedral was fictitious, trying to trick or intimidate Mona. Boss, this statement is a bit untenable. With no hands on her butt, Mona has a high IQ. From the perspective of a detective, she analyzed, the mysterious man has the ability to take away the book at any time. He has not done so until you see the book. I'm clearly provoking you. It's possible. Mona glanced at Wayne. He knows your true identity. The cathedral represents the Holy See. He wants you to know that he already knows. He knows shit. Wayne curled his lips and told Mona not to think nonsense. If the mysterious man really knew his identity, he would not use the cathedral as the background. The Church of Death is more suitable. However, Mona's analysis is not unreasonable. If she is right, there is a traitor in the Holy See, and information that Wayne is a reincarnated angel has spread in a certain circle. Boss, the mysterious man is in London. This is definitely true. Mona frowned. In order to better protect you, I hope to stay by your side anytime and anywhere. The implication is, don't put it aside, let her move into the house, not only as a secretary, but also as a housekeeper, bodyguard, driver, and pillow. It's really cool. Wayne rolled his eyes and said, let's discuss it again. He also said that Mona had made a contribution in this battle and would reward her well after returning. Boss, the last reward hasn't been paid yet. Let's get married together. I will do what I say and I won't take any kickback from you. Wayne said perfunctorily and asked Mona to contact the members of the investigation team immediately and come back to work immediately after the vacation. By the way, there are 2 more clerks. They have the Queen's secret order. The accounts will be audited soon. They must be present. That night, the Snow family's big house was brightly lit, and members of the investigation team entered and exited the study so fast that their feet didn't even touch the floor. The Snow family has a huge business, and the dozens of people in the investigation team will definitely not be able to find it. Clerk Sandy holds the Queen's secret order, contacts the local members of the Ministry of Magic, and recruits a large number of clerks from the local municipal government to assist in handling the case. Although they didn't know what was going on, the mayor and several council members were standing in the corridor, looking pale and wiping sweat with handkerchiefs. Unknowingly, the handkerchief and shirt were all wet, and there was a splashing sound when I twisted them casually. It's good. The urine is recycled and excreted out of the body in the form of sweat, so you don't have to worry about feces and urine flowing out together. The Snow family can earn such a large fortune because, in addition to the background of the old aristocracy, there are people above them who know the policy changes and can make sure profits without losing money on their investments, as well as the new aristocracy has completely transformed and has an excellent relationship with the fast municipal government. The politicians are going to the resort to have fun. Over and over again, it is difficult to lose business. In the study room, Denise, the deputy clerk, sat at her desk with a mountain of documents piled up around her. She worked overtime for 3 consecutive hours and almost vomited when she remembered the records. Wayne was sitting on the sofa. On his left was Willie, who was feeding him. Behind him was Mona, who was massaging him. On her right, there was nothing. Veronica refused to join in. She wanted to drive the 2 shameless men away and give Wayne a hard punch, but she couldn't tell them about the engagement and couldn't find a reason to take action. Out of sight, out of mind, standing by the window pretending to be generous. I don't know what year or month, I got what I wanted. Lord Way patted the empty right-hand pit, looked at the busy figures in the room, and began to hum at the right moment. We are all busy, so be busy. If you don't work hard, how can the leader raise a lover? Sandy put down the document, walked carefully to Wayne, and interrupted the weird tune, Sir Wayne, about the Snow family. Ms. Sandy, We are our own people, there is no need to be polite to me. Wayne patted the empty space on his right and asked Sandy to sit on the whip. The latter had the bonus of being the Queen's clerk and should be on an equal footing with him. Sandy declined politely. She didn't want to sit in the seat, and continued, members of the Snow family have disappeared, and many documents cannot be confirmed. Can you let me meet them? Sandy arrived late, and all he knew was that there was a scuffle at Snow Manor, and all family members were locked up by Wayne. The leader of the investigation team suddenly became angry. She, the clerk, was confused and complained in her heart that Wayne did not follow the procedures. If he broke the rules, there would definitely be trouble. Fortunately, she dumped the blame early, otherwise she would have been scolded by the Queen. Ms. Sandy, you won't see any more members of the Snow family. They are already on their way to London. Sandy was surprised. What an exaggerated efficiency. How long had it been? No, they're already in hell. Literally, I killed them all. Seeing Sandy's frightened face, fearing that he would also be silenced, Wayne smiled slightly and patted the empty seat on his right. Sit down and talk, we are our own people. Sandy's eyelids twitched and he gritted his teeth before sitting down. Before he could sit down, he was snatched away by Veronica. Wayne snickered secretly and said to Sandy, "Don't worry, I received the Queen's secret order temporarily and dared to directly execute the entire Snow family. This family has been involved in a bigger crime. This secret order involves too much. You don't need to know, just report the results directly to the Queen." Sandy breathed a sigh of relief and gave Wayne a complaining look. The little playboy had bad intentions and she almost sat on him just now. "Sir Wayne, without the Snow family's confession, a lot of evidence cannot be established. They cleared it up very cleanly." "This is simple." Wayne interrupted directly, "Pack the incriminating evidence into boxes, ship it by ship, and send it along with the stolen goods to the Landau Manor in London. I will sign for it there. Do you look so ugly when you eat?" Sandy smiled bitterly. "Sir Wayne, after all, I am the Queen's clerk. You should hide these operations from me." "Hide it?" Wayne first confirmed Sandy's statement, and then added, "I have asked someone to send a box of constitutional orders to your home. Remember to sign for it when the time comes." Sandy's face turned green. She insisted, "Thank you for your kindness, but I will hand over these stolen goods to the Ministry of Magic and let the Queen decide. The Queen is very busy, so you and I can keep the little money for her first." Wayne didn't care. It was self-evident what the devil vessels in the Snow family represented. The Queen was really busy and had neither time nor care about the complicity of the leader of the investigation team and the clerk. Seeing that Wayne was nonchalant, as if it was the Queen's order, Sandy asked no more questions. "Team leader, a lot of documents were found in the secret room, related to banks, real estate, and trading companies," a member of the investigation team reported. "Change everything to my name," Wayne ordered. "After the changes are completed, everything should be packed in boxes and sent to Landau Manor. Afterwards, a bidding meeting will be held to transfer the assets legally. The Snow family does not have to abide by the law. Our investigation team must strictly abide by the laws of Windsor." "Okay." Sandy was speechless. In all her years as a clerk, she had never seen anyone more law-abiding than Wayne. "The key is that I don't even bother to act. The key is that I can completely avoid her and it doesn't take much time. Team leader, we found a box in the compartment. You need to see the contents in person. Lead the way." Wayne quickly arrived at the secret room and saw a thick stack of popular science books on hell. The picture book contained detailed descriptions of the identity and image of the devil of hell, as well as complex alchemy array graphics. From entry to imprisonment, he was dazzled by the dazzling array of books. Unlike the priced banknotes and waste paper, these are the real treasures. Wayne ordered people to seal them and send them all to his room, preparing to stay up all night to study tonight. The time came to December 2nd. The investigation team completed a series of tasks at hand and chartered a plane to return to London at the Fast City Airport. Yes, Fast City has an airport and a route to London, so there is no need to take a ship or train from the beginning. Wayne got the obelisk, completed the investigation task of robbing the rich and helping the poor, had enough food and drink, and played enough cards, and flew directly back to London. He and Sandy went to the Ministry of Magic as soon as possible and signed the investigation report, which was considered to have completely completed this task. Ms. Sandy, I am very happy to cooperate with you. I hope there will be a chance next time. Me too. What can Sandy say? She can only smile bitterly and draw her hand. By the way, I wonder if I can have the honor to invite you to see a movie. No, Sir Wayne is so outstanding and deserves a younger girl. Sandy hurriedly drew a line, and at the same time was proud of her charm. That's a shame. Wayne shrugged, not showing much regret on his face, and reminded, please sign for the box of money properly. After all, it's stolen money. Be careful not to be discovered by your colleagues in the office. Sandy. She saw it all, but Wayne didn't say it earlier or later, and had to wait for several colleagues to pass by before deliberately reminding her. Landau Manor. Wayne failed to attack Monica, and was very disappointed that he couldn't lift Gao Gao. He sat in the study waiting for Austin. Before Megan closed the door and set up the soundproof barrier, he asked the butler to catch the cat, and he would stroke it later. His face was exactly the same as Austin's, and Megan was used to it. Why are you looking for me? Hasn't the Snow family's affairs been dealt with? Austin looked at Wayne with a headache. Every time he went out, he would get into a lot of trouble, making him not know how to train an heir. Although Wayne was very smart this time and gave a heads up in advance, and the Queen took care of the mess, a simple house search revealed a bunch of devil containers, which still proved Wayne's ability to cause trouble. Other investigation teams didn't find any, but you did. It's no wonder that the Heavenly Father Church gave you a secretary. You can run into devils wherever you go. The Heavenly Father Church has a good eye. The Snow family is gone, but there is a hidden story behind it. I know that the Queen will handle these things, and we don't need to worry about them. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Wayne whispered about the mysterious man and the Book of Hell taken away by the mysterious man. I don't think he is from the Ministry of Magic, and it's unlikely that he is from the church. There are also demons in London. Austin asked for details with a dark face, playing with the ancient silver coins without saying a word. After a long time, he said, I do know such a person. He is very knowledgeable about hell. Maybe there will be clues, but I'm not sure whether to ask him. Who? Frank Turner. Turner. Wayne muttered the last name. Is he also a member of the Tulip family? Yes. Austin briefly introduced the Turner family. Like the Patino family that is now hidden, the Turner family declined for a long time because of the betrayal of a legendary wizard in the family, and it has not recovered until now. The population is dwindling, and only Frank is left. This guy is a freak, but also a genius. He likes magic but not orthodox magic. He studies hell, divination, black magic, and all kinds of weird things. Frank is particularly passionate about hell. He turned his hobby into a job. For 50 years, he became a hell expert in the Ministry of Magic as he wished. He led a secret department and was very close to several legendary wizards. According to gossip, he has a very good relationship with the Queen. Wayne's scalp tingled when he heard it. Why not forget it? What if something else is found out? We are already a constitutional monarchy. We are not Frank, so there is no need to become a republic. Wayne thinks that the current national conditions are good. He is the heir of a big capitalist. He holds the Queen's thigh. The Queen can have as much as she wants. He must not learn the dregs of Frank next door and send the monarch to the guillotine. Having said that, there is a powerful devil in Corundum. Even if it is possible, I must check it out. Austin rolled his eyes at Wayne. He will report this matter to the minister, and the minister has the final say on how to investigate. Privately, he will secretly investigate, and if the situation is not right, he will stop immediately. There is another thing I care about very much. Wayne said, I met my superior at Me6 at the airport. He said that Me6 only laid off employees but did not resign. He also asked me to cooperate and continue to convey wrong information to Frank. Wayne didn't want to be associated with the past, but the boss of Me6 came from the Tulip family and had a high position in the military. He wanted to hear the opinions of the old society trash. I can help you with this. You don't have much to lose. When it comes to foreign countries, Austin immediately becomes patriotic. We Windsor and Frank have a century-old friendship. Our foreign political strategy has always been offshore checks and balances. Frank is too strong. Her strength is not good for us. On the contrary, a Frank lying on a sickbed deserves this friendship. You won't think so when this sick man raises his hands to surrender. Wayne rolled his eyes. Okay, I will help Me6 to transmit false information. Please do me a favor and ask Me6 to pay my salary and fire me. I will serve the country and the Queen with love as a non-staff member in the future. Austin couldn't help laughing and teased, your big star partner is very beautiful, are you willing to give it up? It's okay, I have a more beautiful one now. Wayne touched his chin and replied truthfully. Speaking of beauty, the high priest of the Moonlight Church is amazing. Her appearance and figure are impeccable. After transforming into an elf, she is even more perfect. Wayne has never seen a more beautiful woman than her. Austin's face darkened. Veronica also went to Fast City. Yeah. Don't let her have too much contact next time. I will grasp the measure and let her see but not see everything. Austin was not satisfied with this answer. He frowned and wanted to say something. When the words came to his lips, he just sighed softly. That night, Wayne stayed at home to enjoy the celebration banquet. After dinner, Veronica and Healy whispered something, then stood by the window and called Wayne. She pointed to the black night sky and said domineeringly, it's right here, a bastard is going to fly soon. Very filial, I was amused. Wayne was full of expectations, looking out the window while laughing. He didn't fly tonight, someone else did. LE.jpg. 10 minutes later, everything was fine. How could this happen? Veronica was shocked. She clearly told her mother that the old society trash had sex with Megan. Why didn't he fly out? Is this still her mother? Accept it, the position of secretary is really important. Wayne patted Veronica on the shoulder. Austin is right, the head of the family cannot be without a secretary. You still have time to learn now, use some tricks on Mona, she will listen to you obediently. Dream on. Veronica's forehead was bulging with veins, and she flew when she said she would. Healy didn't fly, but she did. With a bang, a human cannonball appeared. Austin, who was standing in front of another window, clapped his hands and laughed, while Megan, the housekeeper behind him, was speechless. This family is rotten. If she hadn't been young and ignorant at the time, and had been tricked back by the couple, she wouldn't have stayed in this family. Megan, where's Monica? Here, the young master asked me to bring it over, and he hasn't done anything yet. Let it go, catch it again for me. What a trouble.